Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spelunkers, a game exploration podcast. This time, we have a very special episode where we are going to be doing each of our top 10 lists of the games of the generation, PS4 and Xbox One. We have some community ones, and of course, I'm joined again by Ryan.
Howdy.
Tyler.
Hello.
Hey, he said something this time. And Chris.
Hey there.
So yes, we all have compiled a list of our top 10 games from PS4, Xbox One, consoles, third party as well. We did leave Switch out because it's tiny. It's got little games. So
that's the only reason.
You need to make it physically larger for it to be considered a console.
They decided they weren't going to put out another new console right now, so we're not going to do them until they put out a new one, probably.
Yep. And then we'll talk about Breath of the Wild, everybody.
You mean Fire Emblem Three Houses?
Yeah, and then we'll be like, why is the top 10 list for the Switch all Nintendo games?
What a question.
Because majority would probably be Nintendo on my list. Like,
yeah, same.
First party games.
Oh, well, you haven't played Fuser on the Switch yet, have you?
The top game on my Switch list would actually be the same as the top game on this list.
Ooh, hot take.
Indie game.
Interesting.
That's my guess. All right.
Anyways.
So, getting into the meat of things here, I'm going to tell you our order so that when we screw it up, everybody can laugh.
It's a good idea.
We are going Ryan, Tyler, Tom, Chris, and we'll go through each number 10 to number 1, and then we'll do community afterwards. So, Ryan, what is your number 10?
So my number 10 game of this past video gaming generation is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Ooh.
Which is about the only game I played for 2 years after its release with me and my friends. I didn't play a lot of things outside of that for quite some time. That is probably the game I have the second most amount of hours in. It makes other shooters feel bad because I can't lean.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a hot take for a shooter.
Yeah. It's a hot take, but every time I go into any other shooter, I immediately try to lean around.
Oh yeah,
and when I can't do it, I am upset.
Just muscle memory. Can you not lean in Apex Legends?
You can, but it's you don't get to choose when to do it. Like if you come to the edge of cover and then
yeah.
Where like in Siege, I hit
you
the
can just lean all the time. Yeah,
it's
I forgot.
My decision. Yeah, it's.
You know what other game you can lean in? Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, in VR.
In VR only. Yeah.
And you saw me using that extensively as a tool in my arsenal.
Do you still play that a lot?
No. Wait, Siege or Resident Evil?
No, Siege. Obviously, I know you dropped Resident Evil.
It's already deleted.
Yeah.
I haven't played Siege since about year 4, season 2. That is a game that is so important to play every day. New maps, new techniques, they change constantly, and if you are not sharpening your knife, then you are not going to be competitive. So when my group kind of started to fall off of Siege and move to other things, I also kind of fell off of Siege and began moving to other things as well. So it's been a little while for me, but like I said, for about a good 2-year period, I would come home from work every day and play Siege for 5 or 6 hours and do nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
5 days a week.
I have tried that game once, and I had no friends, so it went poorly, and then I stopped.
Yeah, it's very difficult if you don't have anybody to play with.
Yeah,
I played like the random PvE stuff with my dad, but I never did PvP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the PvP stuff. If you don't have a squad to go in with, it kind of sucks because there are some very toxic lobbies for that game.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the most toxicity I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy.
I had toxic friends play that game with me.
Oh no!
Sometimes it would happen. We'd all be a little toxic to each other on occasion. It almost brings it out of you, but
yeah, it's a frustrating game for sure.
Mm-hmm. but still
All right.
so good.
Tyler, what do you got?
Okay, my number 10 is, hold on, I gotta pull my list. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, wait, what's our rule on
No.
talking about games that are also on our list?
You can talk about it, but then we'll just gloss over it a little faster. But you can still explain your reasoning.
Yeah, the first time
it's
somebody
your turn.
brings it up, you should just say everything you have to say. That way, when it comes up on your list, you just say, "Oh, my number 7 was also Horizon."
Yeah.
Moving on to the next person.
Okay, but you can go ahead, Tyler, because you brought it up first.
So this whole list was really hard for me because I feel like a lot of my top 10 were going to be Sony exclusives because I didn't have an Xbox until like a year ago. But Zero Dawn was one of those games I kept putting it off. I kept putting it off. I didn't play it after, like when it launched. I played it like maybe 6 months later. My buddy kept telling me, "You have to play this game. You'll love this game." And then I finally sat down and played it, and like that world and story that they created is so unique to anything else that's out there that I just got sucked into that game, man. Then I could not put it down. And being able to like play as a female protagonist and just like go around and just messing up like these giant robot dinosaurs and having it all interconnect into like this weird like crazy story that was like futuristic but then stuck in the past at the same time. It was just a unique experience, and I haven't played another game really like that since.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. The story of that game shines. Do I say my number now, or we just hold that
No,
off?
hold
You
your
can hold it
number.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of. I mean, it's in my top 10. It's one of my favorite games of the generation as well. That story is so phenomenal. That is a story of a game that's over the years has stuck with me because I picked that up at launch. There's a Horizon Zero Dawn poster on the wall. I'm a big fan of this game. I've beaten it 3 times.
Oh man.
It is the way they like. I never saw the twist coming in my first playthrough. Like the writing was done super well. The world building is phenomenal. I'm really excited for the next one. Yeah, it's just top-notch game.
Yeah, it is also in my list somewhere, but I won't tell you where. But it's superb, and I think the story is incredibly underrated. Like, maybe it's just that a lot of people fell off the game and didn't finish it, and I think a lot of the cool parts of the story are really late. Like the revelations of what that world is and how it came to be.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
I mean, the
incredibly
whole
fascinating.
final act is like where all that story really comes to a head, and that's where it clicked, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is what this is," you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the game also got a lot of flack because it came out at the same time pretty much as Breath of the Wild, I think like a week before. And it's more of a normal open world with like, here's some tasks to do, it tells you where everything is, but as somebody who was not super into Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn is exactly what I needed at that moment. Just a pretty standard open world in terms of structure, but amazingly beautiful environments and such a unique setting. That's really all I need for an open world.
Yeah, this was on my close call list because I had just played this. What was it? April, May of this year?
Yeah, something like that. You streamed it recently.
Yeah, but I think
remember Adam
I
complaining that he couldn't watch the streams.
yeah, I think I rushed through it more than I should have. I did enjoy it, but I think that I didn't really soak everything. Like I like the environment, I like everything that was into it. I'm planning on playing it again on PS5 before the second one comes out or the next iteration comes out. But yeah, it was on my close calls list. But I did really enjoy it, aside from the fact that Aloy has a very large head.
I like big-headed girls, man.
Big head, big brain.
That's right, big story.
Smart women. Oh my god.
No, yeah, I really like the story and all the aesthetic of it. I called them Cyber Vikings, so I'm pretty sure
That's a good call, man.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah.
That's a good punk rock band.
But yes, it was on my close call. So when we get to those, that's on my list for that, but not my top 10. My top number 10 is The Witcher 3. I know people have it probably fire up, but so these first 2 games, I could not get into the first 2 games. I will tell you right now. Number 1 on PC I played it for 20 minutes, half hour maybe, and I was just like, no, I can't do this. Like, I don't get all this. Why you gotta do all this crap to your sword? There's like a lot into it. I felt, and then I tried 2 again, and I was like, 3 at least was, I don't know, is more accessible, I think. But the whole world and like everything it was super fun. Actually, the story, there's a lot to do. Like, there's a lot of conversation and all kinds of other crap. But that and all the DLC is a really good game. I enjoyed it very, very much.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Witcher 3 fan, so I will keep my thoughts in my head.
That'll be a hard pass for me, Tom.
I have my own personal problems with why I never finished that game. I played about 40 hours of it. It's a very well-crafted RPG, but that's about. Without having beaten the game, I don't necessarily want to speak on it past that.
You're never gonna make it through Cyberpunk.
Oh, I'll make it through Cyberpunk.
I probably won't.
It's not the fact that it was a long game. There are some there's some weird personal history surrounding Witcher 3.
Okay. Combat sucks.
That's why we all have different lists.
Exactly, Tom. Yeah, but I can recognize Witcher 3 is like a phenomenal piece of software. Like,
Yeah, your list is wrong. It's okay.
That's fine.
We're going there
My list
already,
is gonna
boys.
be weird. I'm not worried about it.
All right, so my number 10 is a game that Tyler played recently, The Evil Within. This is at the time it was the scariest game I had ever played. Probably the only other survival horror games I had played were like Dead Space 1 through 3, I think was already out at that point. And I know for a lot of people this game fell kind of flat because it just felt like Resident Evil 4 being redone basically. But I hadn't played Resident Evil 4, so for me it was freaking mind blowing. And there's a weird grudge lady that follows you throughout the game that is just the most horrifying thing ever. Like I recently rewatched one of the extra live streams, and Lele from Game Informer's production department was talking about she's never even played the game, still has nightmares about that creature because she saw it once in a freaking commercial or something. It's a very scary game, and it uses that very now familiar structure of a Resident Evil 2 remake or Resident Evil 4 or anything like that, of finding supplies, managing ammunition, upgrading guns along the way. And I think it does it the best of any of those games, except maybe Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of it. I'm at like chapter 11 or 12, I think, is how far I've gotten so far. And from what I've played, that game is awesome. So I could see why it's on the top list, because some of the things that it does with the horror genre is so serious and like cerebral, and you don't really see a lot of psychological horror anymore. That was like a big thing back in like PS2 and early 360 days, right? With like Condemned and stuff like that, and like Manhunt, whereas like just like this crazy visceral horror. And you don't see a lot of stuff like that. So going back and playing that recently, it's got like a different tone and vibe that a lot of other games don't have. It's a cool game.
Yeah, I'm not. I just started playing it, and I not played it in like 2 weeks. So I can't give much insight on it. I enjoyed the little that I did play. The graininess and the weird cinematic camera I didn't like, but
yeah, the black bars, like I don't know why those are there. It was a weird decision.
Yeah, I went in
and get rid of them.
Yeah, I went in and changed my settings immediately to get rid of that.
Oh, that wasn't
the
available.
Whole grainy,
at launch.
weird camera. I wasn't too into
Yeah,
it.
it looks like dog shit, but it's fun to play.
Horror fan number 1, Ryan, you have anything to say about it?
I haven't played it.
It's scary.
That'll be a no from him.
Yeah, no for me, dog.
What's your number? 9.
Number 9 is a game probably none of you have heard of, Static with a K.
Like Static X, the band?
Statik. It's a VR game for PSVR. It's a puzzle game. It has some of the most thought-provoking but difficult puzzles I've ever encountered in a game. So the whole premise of this is that your hands are in... You are, from your perspective, a test subject in some scientific building. And you are always in like a big dentist's chair, and every time you wake up, your hands are in this box. and every single button on the DualShock 4 does a different function on the box, and you have to work your way through the puzzle around the box to get this receipt printout that a little robot comes over and scans, and then they put you back under. And then there's some interesting story twists. Like, I kind of want a game theory on this game. I want Matt Pat to dig in and find all the weird little back pieces and lore and make some weird connections, because there's something behind the story of this game, and I should probably play through it a few more times to see if I can discern anything more myself. But it left a lasting impression. I played through it a couple times. I did a bunch of puzzles. It's really good.
I'm writing it down to get on VR because I have no idea.
I've
what
never
that
heard
is.
that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. I barely plugged my PlayStation VR in, so.
Yes. All right, I got one game nobody heard of. That's all I was
You win the list.
I don't have any games nobody's heard of. Oh no, I gotta change the list.
Okay. Oh god.
I'm thinking about rewriting my list now, so nobody.
Stop it. Jesus.
Because all of mine are very famous games.
I mean, the rest of mine are.
Well,
Tyler.
My number 9 is Far Cry 4. Far Cry 3 was one of my favorite games on the 360, and I loved how it changed from Far Cry 2, because Far Cry 2 was like really all about like survival and getting through Africa and stuff like that, and then 3 became more open world, like that typical Ubisoft open world formula, and then I think 4 really solidified that formula and made it like incredible, whereas like you getting all these upgrades for your character and just going through like these like Nepal mountainside and like hang gliding and flying around and all this crazy shit that you can do all the time. And the story was really fun and interesting. I have a statue of Pagan Min back there, the main protagonist or antagonist of the game. The DLC was super fun. You can go to like Shangri-La and stuff, and it's just a super fun place to just like spend time and just relax. Like, it's beautiful and everything about it was super great. I loved it. Game's great. And then Far Cry 5 came along and super sucked.
I did enjoy 4. Hitting rhinos with RPGs.
Yeah,
it's always fun.
4 is the only Far Cry game that I got the platinum trophy in. I like that one a lot as well.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, 4 is quite good, and I was also not a big fan of 5.
What's one of my favorite things about 4 is like doing some of the upgrades and like being able to like drop down, especially like doing like the enemy outpost camps. And that's one of the things like everybody gives Ubisoft shit for now is like, oh, there's an outpost, you gotta go take out an outpost. But like if you go in like Far Cry 4 and you have all your upgrades and you're like dropping down off a zip line, stabbing someone in the back, taking a throwing knife, throwing it at a dude, taking a grenade, kicking the grenade off of that dude into somebody else, like that shit is awesome. And it's like becomes this crazy like meticulous puzzle of how you're gonna piece this together. And there's so much of that, and I love it. It's so good.
Oh yeah, that was a good game.
And hunting is super fun too and underrated, and I love crafting shit in that game.
Yeah, people should stop giving Ubisoft crap for having outposts. Outposts are fun, to me.
Yep, I enjoy it. It's a good time.
Yep.
I'm with you. I don't have it on my list.
Next.
Good
Tom.
Game. So my number 9 is actually very simplistic and a game I played a lot this year. It's actually Neon Abyss, which is weird. But that game is super fun. I think it's super fun. And I have not played a lot of roguelikes, and this one really got me into it. I know Undermine came out right around the same time, and I think prior to that, really only like Dead Cells, I think is that I'd played, and I didn't play it that like hardcore. But Neon Abyss is super fun. Like I can always just throw it on for like half hour, 45 minutes, and just buzz through it. And the art style, and it's just fun. I like it. There's not really anything too in-depth in that game. It's just a lot of fun. And craziness. Straight madness on hard mode.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it.
I haven't played it. I've watched you play it. It looks quite fun.
Yeah, that's a game ever since I installed it. It's on Game Pass, and ever since I installed it, I haven't uninstalled it because it's fun to like to do a run like a night before you go to bed. It's like one of those perfect like bedtime games. Like, oh, I'm about to go to sleep. Let me do one run.
Yeah, because even beating it doesn't take that long.
Oh, I've never beat it because I'm trash at video games.
No.
But you know.
we know how much you like dying in video games. So.
I don't like it. I just do it a lot.
Make a game where the hidden agenda is for you to die a bunch.
Yeah.
Platinum trophy immediately.
Yep.
All right, Chris.
All right. My number 9 is okay. So it's the Banner Saga. If I have to pick a specific one, it's 2. But really, all 3 games are a single story. But the Banner Saga 2 specifically is the best entry because you play as 2 separate teams in 2 and 3. But in 2 is the first one that did it, and it is no secret from the beginning of that game that those 2 teams are eventually going to come to blows, and you're like training up these 2 teams that you know are going to fight each other eventually, but you don't know like which side you're going to be controlling when they're fighting, and they're like they actually have the skills that you're training them to have in the game. Like by the time those 2 armies come to blows, there's a lot of like people trading off from one army to the other army and stuff. It's very fascinating, and that whole world is such a weird like story, unlike anything I've ever seen in a game. It's about the end of the world, but then it's also about interpersonal stories, comparable maybe to like The Last of Us, but told obviously through a very different lens. It's like a top-down strategy game with like a side-scrolling view of the caravan moving during the day, like Oregon Trail-esque. I don't know if Ben Hansen's ever played this game, but he should. It's got a lot of Oregon Trail in it. But yeah, the way that those stories come together, and I'm talking specifically about Banner Saga 2, but the end of Banner Saga 1 like made me cry because it was so amazing. And for a strategy game to do that, that's incredibly impressive. It's a lot easier to do in a big cinematic game like something like The Last of Us, but an indie strategy game, that's hard to do, and it's very good.
Yeah, I have only played the first one, but that art style just takes me back to a time of like being a kid in the 80s, like all the BBC cartoons. Just the way that it's animated. So like the old Hobbit and stuff like that. So I was into it just from seeing the art style. And it was super fun to play. I like the first one. I have not played the second and third, but I want to. I just don't have that large time chunk that I need to play them, I think.
Yep.
Anybody else? Feelings on Banner Saga?
Never played it.
I only ever started to hear about that series when I started hanging out with you guys, and I'm very curious, but have not gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, it seems like my type of game because I like strategy games, but one of those games I just haven't gotten around to.
All right. Number 8. Ryan.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh.
Oh.
Good game.
It's really good. This game is so good. This game pulled me away from Death Stranding, probably to never come back.
That's not surprising.
Which is bad. I was enjoying Death Stranding. I'd gotten to Chapter 6 and just needed a break, and picked up Fallen Order and fell in love. This game is so good. It feels so good. It's just so much fun to be a Jedi, and it's so much fun to be a Jedi I've never heard of before. Oh, give me more. Give me more, EA. I want another one.
They could just remaster Jedi Outcast and Jedi Knight, those games. Don't say no. Those games are good games.
I don't know what
Chris
those
is
games
shaking
are,
his
but
head
I
for
want
the
more
audio.
of Jedi Fallen Order as well. It's not on my list just because I have other like Souls-esque games on my list, and I think they do the Souls-esque stuff better. But Jedi Fallen Order has a better, more direct story.
Yeah, I didn't like the story.
Oh,
I enjoyed the gameplay. I didn't like the story.
can we mute him? Is that possible?
It's still a good game.
I don't know what to think about this guy. But, I just started it today, and that game is super great. I wish I would have played it when it came out because it is my kind of game. It's like perfect, like platforming traversal puzzles with like fun combat with a fun, unique story. Plus, you can customize your lightsaber and your little robot guy and your ship, and it's like everything I want in a game. And you have a skill tree. It's like that's gaming, baby. I love it. And the lightsaber effects are so good. They're so good. I love it.
So good.
I can't really say anything else, but it's good. It's not on my list because I haven't beat it yet, but it's good.
The little droid guy is the best. What's his name?
BD1.
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 Yeah.
Yep.
And he rides on your back like a little pet. He's so cute.
He's great. He's freaking great. And he heals you. He's
and
wonderful.
you hold on to him and you do a zip line with him. He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
You don't like that guy either, Tom?
It's a droid. Cool. I don't know.
Tom is not the only person I've heard have complaints about the story for that game.
Yeah.
So I can understand that there's confounding complaints, and while I enjoy the story in that game, I don't think it's the strongest element from that game. Honestly, I think the story is what keeps me from ranking it higher than number 8. But that game is still so good. The story is still really enjoyable, even if it's nothing super special. That it is that material for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with all of the Star Wars. I've been comic books. I've like everything. Like I don't think there's a Star Wars game I have not played, but I like the game. I like what they did with it. I just the story, the main character. I was thinking, yeah, I didn't care.
What I like about it so far, I've only made it past the first planet, so I've unlocked 2 other planets, and the thing about Star Wars now that is interesting to me is like the stories that I haven't heard. So like that's why I'm so interested in what's going on with this game in particular, is because I don't know what to expect. Where it's like the regular Star Wars timeline, it always kind of loops back in on itself, with all 3 of the movies, or all 3 of the trilogies. They loop back in on each other, and they're basically the same story just over and over. But this is something different. I think it's like The Mandalorian to me, where it's like The Mandalorian is so different from the rest of the Star Wars universe. And it's nice to see them go and try something different and get away from the characters that we know and love and try to create these new characters,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I'd put
a
Old
problem.
Republic if we could do PC, but
No
that's
PC.
an MMO. But that is a fantastic game.
Also, we can't not spoil it. Absolutely no spoilers. But the final set piece in that game is mind blowing. It's amazing.
All right.
Number 8, Tyler.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at this dog. He's snoring.
A dog snoring.
That's
is
your choice for
8.
number 8, the snoring dog.
No, my choice for number 8 is Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Sweet.
Ooh.
I just played this game this year, and it's so I got on like an Assassin's Creed kick a few months ago. Yeah, because Assassin's Creed used to be my favorite franchise. I played 1 probably 2 or 3 times when it came out. I got every achievement for 2. I beat Brotherhood, Revelations. I didn't finish 3 because I didn't like the story, and after 3, I was just kind of like, I don't know, put off from the direction they were going, so I didn't play them again for a long time. And then I picked up Black Flag recently, and I played through that, and I was like, man, I need a newer version of this game. And then everybody always said Syndicate was so good, and so I finally tried it out. And that game is like everything that is amazing about the original Assassin's Creed before I went to like this crazier open world format that I loved. Plus they sprinkled in all these like perfect little like upgrade trees for your 2 main characters, because you play as a brother and sister, and so you can upgrade them while you're upgrading this gang that you also have fighting with you. And so it's like this perfect like middle ground of like old school Assassin's Creed and where they took the series later on with like Origins and Odyssey and all that shit, and it's set in like one of my favorite time periods of like 1800s London. They have all kinds of awesome like historical characters like the original ones did, but you have like Charles Dickens and shit in it, and it's just like it's like this perfect melting pot of all these things I love in one game. And the story is whatever, it's not great, but like the world itself is super fun to be in. Like I would just dick around and just like go around through the streets because it was just a fun environment to walk through.
You would Dickens around?
Oh, I would.
Wow.
Thank you. It's so weird because it's like Assassin's Creed is so different from any other series, right? Because it's like it's the only game I know that you can go and do like side missions for Charles Darwin.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I remember that side mission.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck am I doing? But it's fun, man. That game is so good, and Evie Fry is one of the best characters out there. She's so good. I wish I had more games with just her.
Yeah, Syndicate is the perfect culmination of that old style of Assassin's Creed, which is why I'm glad that they changed so heavily with Origins, because, I mean, I don't think they could do better than what they did with Syndicate with that formula. They needed something new. And Syndicate is not on my list. I wanted to include only one Assassin's Creed game, and we'll talk about that later. but it is like it's tied with the one I have on here for my favorite Assassin's Creed game. It's great.
Yeah, I think Chris nailed it on the head. They needed a change because Syndicate was just the perfect culmination of everything they've been working for the previous 9 entries in the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And as someone who's played all of them, I've missed completing a handful of them, but I've touched all of every single game. Syndicate was fantastic. I love that world. That story though was not enveloping at all though. But,
No,
yeah,
that story was literally nothing. Like it had no value to anything at all. It was just
yeah, but it was so much fun to run around 1800s England, get into fist fights. Go down to the fight club and just take your shirt off and just fist fight another dude. Oh my, it's so much fun. I see Tom giving me some looks, but
and then like even the horse-drawn carriage races, those were even fun because you'd be racing somebody and you just like shove them off to the side and watch the horse like flip over at the top of itself, or like you're like have somebody chasing you in a carriage and you shoot the horse in the face and like it sends the guy in the carriage launching.
Yep.
Yeah. Love it. Really more good. Games with shooting horses in faces, I say.
Jesus.
I got a game for you, buddy. You played Red Dead Redemption 2?
I have. Many a horse was shot in the snoot in that game.
Oh. And you didn't want the horse to die in the game we just played.
Which game?
Plague Tale.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that.
You're just running around shooting horses
I
in the
moved
face?
on, Tom. I don't live in the past, okay? I live in the right now, buddy.
So coincidentally, my number 8 is also an Assassin's Creed, but mine is Black Flag. Just because the entire pirate scenario, the boat in general, like this is probably one of the games I played the most right around early PS4, just because I would just hop in that boat and tool around and destroy people and hunt whales and sing nice shanty songs with my crew. It literally, like, I could give 2 shits about anything that was happening on those islands. It's like that whole game for me was out on that boat, upgrading the ship and just doing all that stuff, taking down like the ghost ships, I think, in the corners, like the super hard ones. Just tons of fun, which is why I'm still angry that there's no Skull and Bones. Like, what the hell happened to that game?
Yeah, Black Flag weirdly is I love it now, but it's the one that like drove me off the series after 3. Because I guess I was already fatigued after 3, and then 4 I played, and like pretty early on you're in a town and a bunch of guards are chasing you and you have to go hide in a well, and I'm like, I've done this 800,000 times already in my life, so I'm gonna not do this anymore. And then I didn't go back until last year when I played through every freaking Assassin's Creed from Black Flag up through Origins, and then I played Odyssey this year. And Black Flag stands out as a really good one. Like, it's weird the dip that Unity takes. I don't think we'll probably talk about Unity, even though we're talking about a lot of Assassin's Creed games here today. But yeah, Black Flag, great. Did you ever play Rogue, Tom?
I did not.
You should play Rogue. Still has all that same boat stuff, just a very different setting.
Yeah, honestly, Rogue is very unique because you play as like a completely different character. You're like up in the northeast part of the United States
during the 7 Years' War.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, Black Flag is the last Assassin's Creed that I've played until Valhalla gets here on Friday, and whenever whenever my PS5 decides to show up.
Assassin's Creed 4 is fantastic. That is, I have some contentions with that game. I was really hardcore into the Assassin's Creed part of the Assassin's Creed game, and the whole just kind of throwing in the trash bin of that for Assassin's Creed 4 really bugged the shit out of me. I can't deny that that's a really fun game to play. I think I've beaten it twice, maybe 2.5 times. But I do have really serious problems with the writing and story direction that game brought the series for a little while before they kind of figured out what they were going to be doing with the modern end of the story. Yeah,
the story in the game is horseshit, and the modern shit stuff is, I think, still horseshit ever since the end of 3.
Yeah, but Edward Kenway as a character is he's fucking awesome. I like him.
The characters in that game are great. The gameplay is fantastic. Getting to be a pirate is wonderful. But I really wish they just didn't call it Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they could have passed it off as just a pirate game, and I would have been fine. Because, like I said, that's all I cared about was everything out in the water.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 8 is Yakuza Kiwami 2. I, like many people, didn't get into Yakuza until Yakuza 0. And that game absolutely blew me away with its storytelling. But, like, the RPG mechanics were all based around money, and you had to do a lot of weird, specific mini games to get money. You didn't get much money from just, like, fighting dudes and playing the game. You had to do, like, this brokerage stuff. Like, Yakuza games always have these massive mini games where you're managing a company or something. And that kind of turned me off a little bit, so I ended up rushing through the story mostly in 0. And then I think Kiwami 1, in terms of gameplay, is a massive dip. So I ended up rushing through that one quite a bit too. But then Kiwami 2, I took my sweet time with, because my god, do they ever just do it perfectly. It's everything I loved about Yakuza 0. Very serious story, but like very silly side quests. I've seen the take a few times in recent days talking about Yakuza Like a Dragon, that is basically like a soap opera, and I agree, except that soap operas are usually bad. This is like a really good soap opera, where weird, stupid stuff happens, but it's all very serious. It takes itself very seriously, at least in the main narrative. And then they did away with the whole, like, I mean, they didn't do away with money. There's still money. You can still buy things, but, like, you gain experience from fighting dudes, and, like, the level up system works really well. You also gain experience for just eating, and then you work off that experience by fighting dudes, and then you eat some more and gain more experience. It's a very silly and fun system. And from what I understand, they have that same system in 6. I should clarify, I haven't played 6. 6 might even be better than Kiwami 2, but I haven't played it yet. Also, obviously, I haven't played Like a Dragon yet. But yeah.
I've played no Yakuza games, so I have no insight.
You got it.
I saw Yakuza 0, Kiwami 1 and 2 on Game Pass earlier today, and I was like, I wonder if those are good jumping on points. So, Chris, tell me, are any of those games good jumping on? Because it's a series I've heard a lot about, and I'm curious about, but I have not tried before.
0 is absolutely the best jumping on point, and on PlayStation, at least, you can play through the entire series at this point, because they finally released, 3 through 5 earlier this year. But 3 and 4 in particular are pretty rough to go back to. I don't know. I would say start with 0, but also from what I've heard, Like a Dragon is a great starting point, because it doesn't really have much to do with the older games. It does, from what I've heard, almost immediately spoil the end of Yakuza 6, which is why I will not immediately jump into it. But if you have no connection to those characters or anything, you probably won't care. You may as well start with Like a Dragon, especially if you like turn-based combat, and I know you love Dragon Quest XI that you're playing. So
turn-based combat. Yeah. Okay, fair point. So I'll probably just wait for Like a Dragon then.
Yeah, I've always been interested in them. I just never took the jump, I guess.
Yeah, I always thought people were crazy.
I played Kiwami, and it was fun, but I only got to chapter 3 or 4, and I just fell off. I couldn't get into the combat. I love the story. Storytelling's awesome. Like Chris said, it is like a soap opera, but I love soap operas. I love that garbage kind of storytelling like that. It's so, like, typical, like, we're gonna go above and beyond to make this as overly emotional as possible. But I love that shit, and the story is super fun, but I can't get into the combat.
Tyler's over there hoping for a General Hospital video game to come out.
I would play the shit out of that. It's like playing like the old Walking Dead games, right? The Telltale games. That's basically just an interactive soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
I love that shit though, because that's what I want. I want a good story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a story, baby.
All right, 7. Right, yeah, 7. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, 7. Borderlands 3.
Wow, only 7. Wow.
I have problems with Borderlands 3.
Hey, me too, man.
And it's a game I like a lot, but there are other games that I like significantly more than Borderlands 3. B, it didn't feel right calling on the Handsome Collection to carry, like, piggyback Borderlands 2 onto this generation. But I still have loads and like within that dropped in October the year it came out, or was it September?
I don't know.
I think it was October. It got pushed.
Yeah. So in 2.5, 3 months, I put like 250 hours into that game on PS4. I really enjoy Borderlands. It's a series I have a lot of affection for. 3 is the best playing one by far. The story, I have a lot of pacing issues with the story, but there's a lot of people that have overall issues with the story, but I see the story for what it is, a setup to continue the wider Borderlands universe, which means it was not going to tie off a lot of ends for us as so much as like open up new possibilities for the series. I see you shaking your head, Chris.
That story sucks.
It's horrible.
They teased us for so freaking long with the end of pre-sequel, and we thought for sure Borderlands 3 was going to tie that up in some way, and it didn't. It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 3, which I don't think we'll probably talk about today either, where like it seemed like this is the one, it's going to tie everything together, it's going to be such a great conclusion, and then like, no, actually, we want to make more, because this makes a lot of money, so let's just leave it wide the fuck open.
I kind of hate the pre-sequel, and I never beat it, so...
Oh.
I thought the pre-sequel was pretty fun. I don't remember any of the story from it, but I do remember playing it and enjoying it. But with Borderlands 3, Ryan was the one that helped me finally finish it, and because I told him like I couldn't get through it because I just wasn't fucking interested, and it wasn't until he and I ran through it with one of my buddies that was like, okay, this game is finally fucking fun, and then like the story didn't get fucking good until the very last hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but playing it with friends is super fun. I mean, it's a fun game.
Yeah, I don't think that we didn't finish it, did we, Ryan?
We need to get back to it on PC, Tom.
Yeah. So I haven't beaten that one yet.
Too many games. Too many games.
A lot of games.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy Borderlands games. I super enjoy that game. I play with my kids, so anytime I can play like a whole like 3 people at least, I'm gonna enjoy it. You know, I like co-op games.
Yeah, I do think the classes are the best they've ever been, and I ended up playing this solo because my would-be co-op partner also decided to play solo. I was like, "Fuck you! I'll play solo too, you little bitch."
Think you're better than me?
But yeah, I think the classes are the best they've ever been. Like they're so creative and interesting, and have builds that feel dramatically different. And like they've only kept adding to that. I haven't played the last 2 expansions, but from what I understand, there's now like a 4th skill tree or something, or they've changed skill trees dramatically in some way.
Yeah, it's Arms Race is the new thing that just came out, I think, is what it's called.
That's like a roguelike mode or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it also added a new skill tree for each character.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Borderlands Science. Talking about Borderlands 3,
yeah.
the arcade game where you are helping scientists sequence gut biome DNA.
Oh.
Don't know what that is.
In Tannis's laboratory, there's a little arcade in the corner of the room called Borderlands Science, and it's this little. It's kind of like a match 3 puzzle game, but more complex and done in a little bit different fashion. But they actually Gearbox partnered with McGill University, and they're using that mini game to help sequence the gut biome DNA.
Wow.
Weird.
So I'd be sad if I didn't mention that talking about Borderlands 3, because that game mode, that is a really fun little arcade game.
Yeah, it's
really
a nice
good.
little distraction.
Mm-hmm. And it like gives you things that augment like earning in game. Like you can buy stuff that like gives you more XP, more money, more iridium while you're out, vault hunting. So it's good to do.
Tyler.
We're at what, number 7?
7.
Ori and the Blind Forest is my number 7.
Nice.
I played this game last year on Game Pass, and I could not stop playing it. That game is incredible. The art is amazing. Everybody knows that. The music is incredible.
Yeah.
Like even my son, who was 7 at the time, maybe, I don't know how old he is. 7. I think he was 7 at the time. He kept mentioning how good the music was the entire time I was playing it. And the story is really touching, and like there's not a lot of dialogue, but there's enough to where it like really hammers home the point that they're trying to get across, and just like family and what it means to be a family, really, and what it means to have like responsibility in a way, and the things that you need to take care of. And The way that they make it like a Metroidvania, I wasn't expecting that because I didn't really know what to expect with the game at all. I didn't know anything about it. So when I found out it was like, oh, we're gonna get abilities and then go and explore, I was like, okay, this is what I like about gaming, baby. I like exploring and I like abilities. Like if you look at all the games I've listed so far, like Horizon, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, it's like getting abilities to like change up your gameplay, you know? It's like all these games have that same thing in common. I love that stuff. I love getting different abilities that can help with traversal or with combat and create a different way of playing. And this game is one of the best.
Yeah, this is another my close call list that didn't make the 10, but I really enjoy that game.
Yeah, it's Will of the Wisp is actually on my close call list over Blind Forest. I think they just improved on everything. Honestly, it would probably be on this list, but there were a lot of bugs with that game when I played it when it first launched earlier this year.
That's why I don't have it on my list, is because of all the bugs. That's one of the games that I have seen chug the most out of any game I played this generation. And it's sad because Blind Forest was super smooth. I didn't have any issues with it. But I think if Will of the Wisps would have been like of that same caliber, like quality of production, it would have probably been on my list instead. Because it's the same game, just like you said, just completely improved on. But those frame rate issues were fucking terrible.
Yeah, I had the frame rate issues. Obviously, I had a couple times where I got soft locked. I just got stuck behind walls, and then like one hard crash.
Yep.
All right. My number 7 is Monster Hunter World. And not having anything to do with the story in that game, because the story is...
Excuse me? That story is superb.
That's just a whole bunch of... Let's just get to the killing the monsters and getting loot, and, you know, I need a new hat, damn it.
That apprentice lady needs to shut the heck up.
Yeah, but Meowscular Chef is the best.
Yeah, just like eating the food in that game, like that food, like getting to eat the food in that game is like it makes me like what they do over there in Japan with their games, like with Capcom. Well, I mean Final Fantasy, like
Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, just making the food, and it just looked so good. Like you just like, oh, I want to eat that and go fight.
I
Giant
had to
creatures.
skip those cutscenes on fast days because I would just get so fucking hungry watching it.
I can't watch it anymore. But I have not gotten through the was it Iceborne? I'm right there, but I haven't played that. So I'm just speaking mostly on the base game. But still lots of fun. They would do the the costumes that you could gain from other video games because it's Capcom. I don't know. There's just a lot of... I enjoy hunting the monsters.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
I also played Monster Hunter World up to like the very end game, and then did a lot of end game stuff. But I have not gone back for Iceborne yet. I bought it like day one because I planned on it, but so many games come out, guys. I don't know if you know how many games are coming out.
And that's a game where you got to kill a freaking monster 45 times so that you can make a sock.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard when it came out, like, oh, this is the hardest content. It's going to be harder than the stuff at the end of Monster Hunter Worlds. And that's always so intimidating to jump back into a complex game and be like, okay, I'm going to do the hardest stuff now. Let's go.
Where do you own that, Chris?
PS4.
I would totally be down to play with you. I have beaten Iceborne on PS4, so Monster Hunter World is also on my list. So I picked this game up at launch. I had a bunch of friends that also picked it up at launch. I unfortunately didn't keep pace with them playing it, so I kind of fell off after I beat the normal story mode the first time around in World after about like 40 or 50 hours. Just because like they started to get so far ahead without me, and it's not that they wouldn't come back and help me hunt, but come on, kids, this is a show. I'm kidding. But they would each have like, you know, they're both trying to hunt the high rank thing, and I'm over here hunting low rank stuff. They're like, well, we gotta, and I get it. It's fine. I came back to that game around the beginning, just before COVID, and I put about 250 hours into it in about 2.5 months earlier this year. I burned through everything high rank. I burned through all of master rank, and I got to the point where I'm in like the very end game stuff. But that is just such a huge grind, and it's like really necessary to have a good crew running with you. And it's just hours and hours and hours of grinding. So I haven't done like the super end game late stuff, but I have seen all of the story that game has the biggest air quotes you can possibly imagine around that word story.
Story.
Yeah, the systems, the menus, all the building, all the game stuff inside that game is just so damn good.
Yeah, I played it at launch. I put about 40 hours into it, but I had to hop off because, like you guys said, it's like you have to have a good crew to play with, and like my buddies would play when I would be at like work or something or doing stuff with my family, and it got to a point where I just couldn't keep up and I couldn't do anything, and they didn't want to go back and do any of the stuff with me. And then my youngest son, I think, was not even 2 at the time, so it was like trying to play a game where it takes an hour to kill one monster when you got a toddler running around. It's like not possible. So I enjoyed it for what I got out of it. I wish I would have got more time with it. The insect glaive is fucking awesome, and I love using that and flying on top of monsters' backs. And
that is my weapon of choice, and I know Ryan is a hammer brother, so
hammer bro.
I'm a dual blader, a noob,
it's a great
as
game.
they call us.
Super fun. I really want to check out the new one that's coming out, but again, I hate that it takes so long to kill a monster. You know, just like make a parent mode. Give me a parent mode. It makes it like just 20 minutes. I just need a 20-minute monster, please.
it's called Kid Gloves.
Yeah, something.
And all it is hunting the little guys, not the big monsters.
That's fine. I'll do it, baby. I don't care. I need something.
Yeah, like I love fighting the monsters. I will say, like, I'm a huge Monster Hunter noob, so I really just want to fight the monsters. I don't like the tracking and then they fly away and it's like, well, I'll chase them over there and fight them for a little while, and then they fly somewhere else again. You chase them for a little while. I just want to fight the monster. That would cut down on the time considerably, but then you don't get those really cool moments of the monster flying into another monster's territory and they fight each other for a while, which is also very cool. So
yeah, I love baiting them into another monster and watching them fight while you just kind of hang out in the corner,
Sipping beers.
yeah, cooking some meat and eating it. All right.
We're on my number 7. My number 7 is Ghost of Tsushima.
This is also on my list.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Shocker.
All 4 of us have been playing a ton of Ghost of Tsushima Legends specifically. And honestly, before Legends, I don't think it would have been my top 10. It's a game I love. I think I scored it like a 9 or something in my personal review list. But I think I'm going to raise that 9 because Ghost of Tsushima Legends has blown me away with the way they've taken the systems in that game, which had light RPG systems, but very light, and then stacked more RPG systems on top of them and made them function really well, making these 4 distinct classes that all feel dramatically different in gear that can dramatically alter your playstyle. And then we haven't even finished it yet, but god, the stuff they do with that raid is insane. The ideas, which I should say, I've never played a Destiny raid, so this is the first real raid I played in any MMO light game or whatever, and it has blown me away how intense and interesting the puzzles are.
Yeah, I don't. As far as other raids go, it seems a little more simplistic, but it is super fun. I enjoy them, and they're way more approachable than any MMO or anything I've played prior. But
I think this is how raids should be done. I've played Destiny raids, and you have to set aside 6 to 8 hours to do the whole thing, and it by the time you finally get to the end boss, you are just at each other's throats because you it's just shit's hit the fan so many times over and over. Such a pain in the butt. Breaking it up, and I think Tom's right. It's probably a little bit easier, but I think that's okay. I think some of the Destiny raids are a little too tough in certain areas.
Yeah,
I think this is the right amount of tough.
Yeah, well, the thing with the raids too that I think makes it so unique, and just the Legends mode in general, is they take this main core combat system that they have for the main game, and then they completely expand upon it and add all these new things that were not in the main game, and completely refresh it within it came out in July, and it released in October, and so it's like a 4-month period, 3-month period. I don't know how fucking time works, and it's like a completely new game. It's not even like you're playing the same game anymore because now you got archetypes that you're playing as. You got different class abilities that you're trying to do. You're trying to, communicate with your teammates, and that was just not what Ghost of Tsushima was. And the fact that they were able to do that, and it's a free update. There's no microtransactions. All the gear and shit that you get is like worthwhile and useful. It's not a huge grind to get anything. It's fucking perfect. It's perfect. It's so good.
Yeah, it was a great way to expand just the single player from the original.
Yeah, that's something I haven't even really thought about, is the fact that there's no microtransactions here. Honestly, that's probably a big part of why I'm enjoying it so much, because even games where it's just cosmetics and they don't really focus on the microtransactions and stuff, you always feel that still, like, there's that menu that wants me to go spend money over there, and Tsushima Legends has none of that, which I love. And we haven't even talked about the actual single player, which we have a whole podcast you can listen to where we talk about that single player, and it's also amazing.
Where we drool over it. I think we all really, really love and adore that game, and Legends just gave us a reason to do more in that world and in that game.
I think you guys are going to be shocked at where it's at on my list.
So somebody grab that. That's great. Thumbnail.
All right, so
number 6.
You got anything else on Ghost? Otherwise, we're on to 6. Ryan.
My number 6, Monster Hunter World.
Sweet.
Which I just talked about.
Number 6, Tyler.
Okay, my number 6 is Spider-Man PS4.
Oh, it's also on my list.
I love this fucking game. The story is super great for a superhero game. We haven't had a good superhero story in a long time. This one was amazing, super fun to play. Characters were fun. Villains were cool. Traversing New York, incredibly fun. All the different suits and how they gave you different abilities, and you could mix and match your suits with other abilities, so you weren't stuck in one suit that you didn't want to use because you didn't want to use that ability. Amazing, perfect idea. Glad they did that. I didn't touch any of the DLC, but just the main game. I beat it in 20 hours and got the platinum. I did that in like 3 days. I could not put it down. I love this game. It's so good.
Yeah, I didn't touch all the DLC, but I did touch the DLC. Even that's still phenomenal. This game is... Oh, it's so good. I'm a bit of a Spider-Man fanboy, so there's some bias, but I don't care. This game's really freaking good. If they gave me swinging around New York simulator, I would have played it for 40 hours without crimes to have to fight. Like, that's the swinging just feels so good. The animation built around the swinging makes it look so good. That game, it's not necessarily the most highly produced graphically, but it pulls off its graphics exactly the way it needs to, and it just nails it in every aspect. Maybe no MJ stealth missions.
I have not beaten it, so I can't put it. I couldn't put it on my list because I was going to beat it. I was going to get the PS5 with that, and then the Miles Morales, and then run through them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's on my list as
Marvel,
well.
so
it's on my list as well. I'm actually not even like a big Spider-Man fan or anything. This game kind of made me a Spider-Man fan. Like, I'm now really excited about the next Spider-Man game, and I was excited to see Into the Spider-Verse, even though I had no reason to other than the PS4 game. That's really I guess the old movies I liked as well. But yeah, the story in that game just really blew me away. I didn't expect such a great story.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to touch on is the combat is like really deep if you want it to be. And like it can be just a beat 'em up game if you want. You can just punch and kick, but then they give you so many tools at your arsenal to throw out whenever you want. And you're seeing a theme here with all the games I have on my list. It's like I love good combat mechanics that varied it up and can change on the fly, right? So it's like I don't have to constantly play the same way. So like having like the web grenades or the web trip mines or whatever, like being able to change up how I'm kicking these dudes' asses, it was amazing and super fun. And I can't wait for Miles Morales. It's one of my most anticipated games this year. So,
Tyler, did you ever find the hover grenade, web grenade combo?
I don't know, probably. I haven't played it since I beat it, so it's been a minute, but probably.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do was just like kick dudes off of ledges and then have everybody chase me and just have trip mines everywhere and just watch them being pulled into the walls. Like that animation of having somebody like get stuck and then boom to the wall is satisfying every time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really quickly, you mentioned you can like change your suit, but change your ability to the ability from a different suit. I wish every game had that. Like, I hate that in Tsushima you can't do that. Like, I wanted to wear the cool gear that I had, but have abilities from a different piece of gear, and that's just not an option in most games. Most games, like, either you're gonna deal with what this looks like, or they have some sort of transmog system that you have to use materials to change the looks and stuff. But yeah, this game does it perfectly.
Yeah, and also just like the amount of suits that you're able to use and like the amount of detail they went into designing every suit is crazy. It's incredible, and all the suits are super badass.
Oh yeah, and they just kept adding more and
Yeah.
more and more the entire time.
The cell shaded suit from like Spider-Man Ultimate from like PS2 or whatever. It's like my favorite suit in the game. It's so good.
It's amazing.
Cool. All right.
Number 6.
All right. My number 6 is Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Well, wait,
Nerd. Shadow of War, the second one.
Second one.
Yeah, this whole Nemesis system that they were doing. After you get through the initial base of this game, and you get to start building your little, like, Urukai and crazy person army, and they just have all the random, I don't know, just everything they do to. When you get to pick those guys, and you find the ones with like the super weird ones, so you get the guy that's got like maggots crawling out of his face, or I don't know. I really enjoyed just going through and hand picking my army out of the enemies that I was fighting, and the story is super fun. Just reclaiming all the places. It's very, I don't know, actiony. I just enjoy it. It's a big adventure, killing crazy beasts and making your army, and I enjoy Tolkien. So
I loved Shadow of Mordor. I've not played Shadow of War just because it came out at an inopportune time, and I have not made time for it. But it's definitely one I want to make time for, and then even more so since Leo Vader had his watch later about like this weird roguelite mode that's in it. But crazy.
It's PS Plus game of the month this year, or this month.
Is it?
Pick it up.
Yeah,
game is super fun.
I added it to my library the other day.
I'm with Chris. I've only played the first one. I've only played Shadow of Mordor, and I loved it. It's a game right up my alley. In fact, it was kind of on my long list of top 10 of the generation.
Yeah, War is so like just the way you get to build your army out of all those guys, and then you can just pit them. Like even one of the better parts is you can go in these arenas and just pit your orcs and stuff against other ones, and they can level up that way and get new gear, and like it is just super fun.
That's cool. Did you play the game at launch or like shortly after?
Launch. Yeah, I played it right away.
Because I know the game got a lot of flack at launch for having microtransactions and having a large grind at the very end of the game, especially if you didn't use those microtransactions, which they eventually patched, but you didn't like feel any of that.
No, I mean I didn't care about grinding.
That's fair.
I enjoyed the world. I enjoyed like what I was doing. So I never did any of the microtransactions, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, people complain about the grinding in Odyssey as well, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and there's like a microtransaction to increase experience, but I maxed out my level way before the end of that game without ever buying that experience booster thing, so it's just how much you want to engage with the game, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just getting gear and new guys, it's just a lot of fun, especially the way you can like invade. Like you get to invade places, and then you have to place your captains and heroes and how you're invading this castle or how you're defending it, and it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy crazy tower defense games that get thrown into the middle of other games.
Yeah, I've never really played it. I can't speak on it too much. I played the first one for a few hours and hopped off. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings guy, so I wasn't really interested in the world setting. It scratched that Assassin's Creed itch I had at the time when I played, Shadow of War or whatever the first one is.
Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, and but it's the combat's super fun. I know that.
Yeah,
it's basically Arkham Combat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 6 is Assassin's Creed Origins.
Mm.
It was between Origins and Syndicate for which one I included on the list, and I'm glad I did Origins since we already got Syndicate talked about here. It was the first one to do the big open world RPG stuff, and a lot of people say that Odyssey did it better, and I do think it improves on a lot of things from Origins, but the fact that Origins took this massive leap off of a cliff and did a flip and landed in a hay bale and did it all perfectly. It's stunning how well those systems work, and I also think the story is slightly better, and I love exploring Egypt. Like Tom, we were talking earlier, I don't remember what we were talking about, but you said like you're kind of tired of Greek mythology, and I think I agree. Yeah. Like Odyssey, I got really bored exploring that world. A lot of things look very samey. I didn't end up hitting every single question mark because I was like, oh, this is a ruin that looks very similar to that ruin I saw 5 seconds ago across the pond here. Origins, I hit literally every single question mark location. I was always enthralled with everything I saw in that game. I took so many screenshots. I had never taken a screenshot actually before I played Origins, and Odyssey I never bothered. But the Origins is just so stunning. And
yeah, I couldn't agree more, Chris. Origins just missed my top 10 list this time around. That game is phenomenal. I think it's my second favorite Assassin's Creed game. Because I agree. Or Odyssey. I think Odyssey was the first time I really felt burnt out on Assassin's Creed, to be honest. Because I got about 4 or 5 hours into that game, maybe a little bit more, and I was like, every time I'd open the map, I'm just like, I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. Where Origins felt a little bit more contained, and the world just so much more engaging. Maybe because half of it's a desert, you don't really have to worry about exploring all that much. But yeah, that game is, and it is one of the better stories out of the more recent Assassin's Creed games. Yeah, really top-notch game. Is it my turn now?
Somebody else?
Yep.
Number 5, Ryan.
But yes, we were talking about Odyssey when I was just burned out on the Greek mythology at that point, and I was like, it was just too much, and I was just like, I can't deal with this. So yeah, I think I played maybe an hour or 2 hours of Odyssey, and I was just like, no, I own it. It's digital. I'll play it at some point, maybe, but I'm like, no.
I have Origins. I maybe put 2 hours into it, and I could not get into it, so I uninstalled. Because I was like, there's other games I want to play. So.
Fair.
Maybe I'll come back to it eventually, but I know that it's a big ask for that game, and I just didn't
for sure
have the time for it at that moment, so, but it's there if I ever want to go back.
All right, so number 5, Ryan.
All right, and we're on number 5, right?
Yep.
Number 5 was Ghost of Tsushima.
Sweet.
Which we already talked about.
Number 5, Tyler.
Number 5. One Piece World Seeker.
We knew it was coming.
Yep. Big One Piece fan. Everybody knows that. I say it every episode because I'm a big fucking nerd, and I will nonstop shout to the heavens about how great that show is. And they made a perfect game all about it because you get to play as the main character Luffy, and you're just going around this island, and you get to use your gum powers and stretch your arms out and just traverse the world because you can shoot your arms out, grab the tops of roofs, and slingshot yourself forward, and you're just soaring across the island. And then you're get into all kinds of fights. It has a huge upgrade tree, which again, this is in every game I play. I love a good upgrade tree that changes up combat, and that's what this game does. You get to upgrade Luffy, and it has a fun story with all the Straw Hat Pirates, and I love this game, and I got the platinum, and all the DLC is super fun. You get to play as all kinds of cool characters from the anime, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I've not played it, but Kyle Hilliard from MinMax also loves that game, so I believe you.
I have not watched the anime, nor have I played the games.
Yeah, I've watched, 30 episodes of the very beginning of that show.
So you're almost done.
Yeah, I'm most of the way there. It's really good. I just don't have time for.
Nobody has time. It took me 2.5 hours to catch up on the anime. Or
2.5 hours. Wow, that's impressive. Holy Lord!
Shit, I'm speed.
I couldn't even read all about the episodes in 2.5 hours. But it took me about 2.5 years to watch the entire show, and it's like my favorite show. And the fact that they were able to capture the essence of that show in a game, because I mean, I'm sure most of us have played an anime game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost put Shinobi Striker on this list.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've ever played an anime game, you know there's always like this little bit of like bullshit that you got to deal with. Like, you know, it's not going to be like the most well produced game you've ever played. But like this game is super fun and it has a photo mode and it just looks beautiful and like the art style is great and I just love it. Give me more games where I can run around as Luffy and I'll be happy. So,
All right,
Sweet.
cool. My number 5 is Destiny 2
Ooh.
because that
Didn't know
game I have played. That is probably the only game that I still play, and that is pretty close to this console's launch, right? Because Destiny was 360, PS3.
Yeah, it was
and
cross-gen.
Destiny 2, yeah, and then Destiny 2 was pretty. It wasn't that like.
It was
It's been out
maybe
for a while.
2015, something like that. It's been a while.
And this is probably the longest I've gone without playing it, but the majority of my reasons for putting this so high is just because I played it so much with my dad. Just going through like everything. Like this was always like if I didn't have anything to do, I'll hop on Destiny, play with my dad for like 5 hours a night. And it's just a lot of like I never had a big group to do any of the raids, but just doing all the other stuff was just like super fun. And if I got off of it for like a month or two, I'd always end up coming back for like and playing it another 3-4 months straight before something else came out. It was always just something I could fall back on. It's a super fun game. I really enjoy it, even if you don't do all of the stuff. Like I barely did any Crucible, but as soon as Gambit came out, man, I was all about Gambit. That was super fun. It was just something else to do, and they just keep putting out more content for this game, and I have not gotten the new stuff that came out yesterday, 2 days ago. I probably will eventually, but if they could make it cross play instead of cross save, oh, that's fun. You know, you enjoy the bugs. I didn't have that many issues on. I played on Xbox, but usually you'd only have the issues like the day the patch came out, and then I was usually fine. But
yeah, I don't know. I've just seen a couple stories that it's busted right now, but that's every time
I haven't
big
played
expansion
since
launches.
March, so it's probably the longest I have gone without playing that game.
Didn't Beyond Light like just drop in the last day or two?
Tuesday.
Just yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
But all their content always has really good like story. But the problem with the story is you actually have to go into reading about it. Like it doesn't throw it in your face. Like it's not like, hey, this is what's happening. You have to read all the little bits. Yeah. Like I'm still confused like about stuff in vanilla, like regular Destiny. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But it's a super fun game. I really enjoy it. I think they did a really good job.
I haven't played Destiny 2, but I liked Destiny 1 a lot. I played vanilla, and then I eventually went back and played Taken King way after it came out. But yeah, I had never had any idea what was going on in that story, and I never finished all the expansions for Destiny 1, and I'm very OCD about playing things in order, so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna play Destiny 2. Screw that game. Also, I didn't have friends to do the raids with, and that's the coolest part of those games, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah. I haven't done a lot of I've done a little bit of some of the raids, but like even just doing the strikes, like super fun. Getting gear, like I don't know. I like grinding out for stuff.
Yeah, when it came out, it was like the game I played nonstop for like 4 months with my friends and my brother, and we did the first raid. I think is Vault of Glass or something like that. I think.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the gunplay is some of the tightest gunplay in any game. I would hold it up there with like Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends as far as gunplay goes. It's super fun to play. I didn't like the grind. I'm not because I got young kids. I don't have the time to just sit and grind like that. If my wife would let me, I guess. Then that'd be another story. But I just didn't have the time to really grind it out like I wanted to. Like Ryan brought up earlier, we were talking about Ghost, like 6 to 8 hours for a fucking raid, to get the best gear. I just didn't have time for it, so I had to drop it like a bad habit. But man, that game it's good. That's a good game.
Yeah. So the best part about that is my 3 oldest kids play Destiny 2 with me and my dad.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. And when it dropped, it was like 2017, I think. So like my youngest is mainly because my youngest, right? Because my youngest is just a monster of a child, just always just terror. I was gonna say it. He's just very ornery. My oldest son is very relaxed, but he took a little extra attention. So, but that game is great. I love that game. And the main story, and I like what they did with the second one compared to the first one, because the main story of Destiny 2 is really good. Like going and fighting the Cabal captain or general, whatever his name is, and like having like this big final climactic battle with him on top of the ship is super awesome. And it just made a lot more sense. It was a lot more streamlined than Destiny 1 story, which like, you had to read all those stupid ass cards to figure out what the hell was really going on. And
yeah, and there's still a lot of that too, just to find out more subtext about everything.
Yeah.
Like there's
that
always
was like
those little artifacts.
That was the whole game with the first one, whereas the second one is like very straightforward. Like this is what we're doing, and it's great. The game's great.
Yeah. So my number 5 is Dragon Quest XI, which I know some of us have played, at least some of. I know Ryan's played quite a bit. But yeah, that game absolutely blew me away. I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. I played through all of them, I guess, at this point, other than like 1 and 2 are horrible to go back to. Do not try to go back to 1 and 2. They're archaic as hell. But
I can attest.
yeah, Dragon Quest 8 was like the pinnacle of the series before 11, I think. 9 was like this weird DS offshoot that was very heavily class-based, and like I think it had like a weird co-op mode. And then 10 we never even got here. It was an MMO. I don't know anything about it really. But 11 just completely blew it out of the water. I think the cast is incredibly likable, even though the English voices are not always great. There's a guy that's got like a Boston accent that sometimes goes Irish. I don't know. He's a weird dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about Eric? You're talking about Eric,
I'm
right?
talking about Eric.
Yeah.
He's got a weird
he
voice.
sounds terrible. Yeah, his voice sucks.
So I don't know. Maybe play with Japanese voices if you're into that. I went through with English and it was fine. I just never had Eric in my party. But yeah, then the story is really good and does some unexpected things. Like halfway through the game, you think you're getting towards the end of the game, and then there's a very big twist that makes the game much longer. And then you roll credits, and there's this massive end game that again twists the story on its head. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm only about 50 hours in on Switch, which whenever we do our Switch episode is probably when I'll talk about Dragon Quest XI. Because maybe I'll have it beaten by then. But that game scratches a real itch for me. I'm a huge fan of the classic turn-based RPG stuff. My favorite Final Fantasy is still the first one, because I'm a madman.
The actual first one? Or...
The actual first one,
okay.
Yes. Because I'm a madman. I go back and play it on mobile all the time. I have a couple saves going right now. So this like... Yeah. This Dragon Quest is fantastic. I get to play like an hour or so every night before bed, and it's real. I put on Japanese voice acting, so it's like getting to watch an anime every night before bed. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've put like 40 hours into it. I haven't beat it. It's one of those games that it's like comfort food. It's like if I don't know what to play and I just want to like live in a world, I like to go and play that because I think the characters are super fun and the world is so interesting, and that Toriyama art is just fucking incredible, dude. And just how the monsters are like walking around the world and just looking at them walking around, I just love that because I love the design of it all. Game's great.
Yeah. So number 4.
I haven't played it. I want to on Game Pass. I've had it pre-downloaded for what? I think they let you pre-download it in like August, and you can't play it till December.
Oh yeah.
I got all ready to start it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So then I started Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah.
Right.
What are we on? It's my turn, right? 4 was Marvel's Spider-Man, which I already talked about. Good game. Go play it if you haven't.
That's a good game.
That's a good game right there.
My number 4 is Overwatch. Overwatch has been... I brought this up a lot. Comfort food. That is like the number one comfort food for me and my wife. We play it all the time. We'll take turns trading off the controller or whatever. I got it on PS4, and I bought it on Switch when it came out on Switch. The game's incredible. It's super fun. There's so many different classes you can play as with different abilities, and I've probably put 1,500 hours into it since it came out. I love that game. It's so much fun.
Respectable.
Now
I play it solo, and I don't like it because I have to play it solo, so I don't play it.
I also play solo, and I still think it's a good time, but I only played it in its release year. But I don't want to alarm you, Tyler, but that game does not let you level up and gain new abilities.
Yeah. What the hell's going on here?
I know, but all
Lying to us.
you get to select a bunch of different characters that have different abilities. So
That's
it's
true.
like you can change up how
That's
you're
fair.
playing every match. You know, you're not playing the same character every match. I mean,
They add characters pretty regularly.
yeah, they've
too,
added
so-
like 8 characters, I think, since launch. Probably less than that, but all the characters they've added are really cool. I like how they've kind of built out the lore, and all the different seasonal events they've come out with have all been really cool and interesting. Like the Halloween event was like this crazy, like horde boss rush mode where it's like 4-player co-op against like a giant Frankenstein monster, and like all the characters have these crazy costumes, and like just what they do with that game is really unique, and I can't wait for Overwatch 2, and I don't know why they teased it 3 years ago when they haven't shown anything since. It's stupid.
Did you know who that's made by, right?
Yeah, I don't like talk about the company. I just like talk about the game.
So you know how long it takes them to spit a new game out?
Yeah,
A long time.
I know.
You gotta
Yeah.
worry about the new Diablo first before
Yeah.
Overwatch comes on the plate.
They haven't even shown anything from that either, but they said when they showed it, like, it's very early.
And it sucks because, like, with Overwatch 2, I'm so excited for it because there's going to be, like, a story mode, like, co-op, PvE kind of a thing going on.
Cool.
And I just love the design. Again, like, you're talking about designing characters. I love the character design in that game. I think every character is super unique, and their backstory is super cool. And, like, I brought up with lore and stuff earlier, but, like, they had, like, the comic book series that they would spit out, like, the free comic books you could go online and, like, read about the characters and like their backstories and stuff, and I thought that stuff was super fun and interesting, and it's just a real fun time. It's really laid back kind of a vibe. I mean, only super serious people play it now, so it kind of sucks to play sometimes, but it's still fun and enjoyable.
Another reason to be excited for Overwatch 2, the influx of new players. It is weird.
Yeah,
how they're,
I can be good again.
it is weird that they're gonna like have it's like the same servers or whatever. They're like Overwatch 1 players are playing with Overwatch 2 players because it's the same PvP.
Yeah.
Just the PvE that's like new and different. It's an interesting way to do a sequel.
Yeah, I don't know why they're calling it Overwatch 2. If this is all speculation, I'm assuming it's going to be like an expansion, where it's just going to be a giant expansion pass that you buy that just adds the story elements to it.
Sure.
Yeah. Real quick, since we briefly mentioned Diablo 4, I want to say I didn't put Diablo 3 on this list because it came out last gen first, and I consider it more a last gen game. But that would absolutely be on here if it weren't for the fact that I'm trying to avoid cross gen stuff on my personal list.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, man.
All right, Tom, number 4.
My number 4 is a game that I didn't play until this year, Bloodborne. Even though I be explained the story because I don't know how the hell you get this out of when you're playing the damn thing, but all right.
That game has a story to it?
I guess. Yeah. Apparently.
I thought you were just killing monsters.
Like just the Souls games in general, I really didn't come onto until this year, really. But the setting and everything, it was a good time. And people told me that I shouldn't have chose the class that I chose for my first time. And I didn't seem to have any problems with it. So now I'm curious. I'm going to play it again on PS5, but I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy that game.
I think the class you chose is fine when you have a community of people like helping you out, telling you, hey, you need that gem or whatever. And here are the weapons that actually work with it. You were doing arcane. We should just stop being coy about it.
I got one gem, and I never got any weapons past I got that weird Tesla coil thing. That's the highest I got. I had like 3. Yeah, I had like 3 weapons.
Yeah.
And I was still using the blunderbuss at the end. I don't know if you get more guns.
Yeah. But it's super easy to skip any of those weapons or skip over that gem. And if you're trying to make an arcane build, those are like necessary.
You have to have the gem, or one of the few arcane scaling weapons.
Mm-hmm. So Bloodborne is also on my list at some point. This is the game that got me onto. I figured, Chris. It got me into Soulsborne's after bouncing off of Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne it's chef's kiss. It's so good. It feels right all the time. The setting's phenomenal. The story's great. A lot of things have been said about Bloodborne, and I agree that it is one of the greatest of our time. Like, this is just one of the great video games. Not even just of this generation, just of great video games.
Yeah, it is absolutely exceptional. Like, the environment design, the way, the twist, I guess, if you want to call it that, from gothic horror to a very different kind of horror. Like, I did not see that coming at all. Like, we'll be coy about it, I guess, but like, that type of horror I am now super into, that it twists into, and I was never into it before. So yeah, I don't know. There are theses out there on freaking Bloodborne. So I don't know what I can really add other than it is an amazing game. And like, my first playthrough, I didn't even use pairing at all, but now I'm in love with pairing. After I did a 16-hour stream just playing freaking Bloodborne the whole time, and I could have done 24. Like, it's just a superb game. And then after I finished that playthrough that I was doing on that 16-hour run, I did another one. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing game.
Yeah.
I like that game just fine.
It's no One Piece.
It's no One Piece. That's right. You got it, brother. No, I mean, I beat it this year for the first time. It's okay. It's just not my type of game, you know? I love the setting. I do love the setting. I think the setting in the world is super fucking cool. And it's got that like 1800s London vibe, like AC Syndicate, you know? And I love the setting, but it's just not my kind of game.
Fair. I also like, I mean, we already mentioned it, but the story is, it's not even there really, unless you're watching YouTube videos on it or whatever, or you're a genius who can put it together through the text in the game, like the people who made these YouTube videos did. Like, you watch those YouTube videos or read the theses or whatever, it's like, none of that shit happened. What are you talking about? What is this game?
I even got the graphic novels while I was playing it to read them, hoping it would give me insight into what the hell was happening. And let me tell you, it didn't.
Yeah, good choice of word on trying to gain insight, Tom. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the story is amazing. The story that people have put together anyway. Who knows if that's even true? From Software will never say, like, you're right, that's what we were doing. But I do think it's really cool, but yeah, good luck putting it together while you're actually playing the game.
Yeah.
I can, going back now, I can see the broad strokes of the stories. Like, my third and fourth playthrough after I watched all those YouTube videos, I'm like, okay, I can see all these broad strokes. Some of those more minute details that, you know, those are kind of lost on the designer's whims. But the broad strokes of that story are still there, and oof, it's good stuff. I like it a lot.
Cool.
All right. Number 4, Chris.
Number 4 was Marvel Spider-Man.
Hey, we had it in the same spot.
Nice.
Chris. We think equally highly of that game.
Number 3, Ryan.
My number 3 was Red Dead Redemption 2. Phenomenal game. I was just all nodding like,
it is a game. It is an enjoyable game. I have not finished it.
It's a good game.
I knocked that out in about a week and a half because I couldn't stop. It is so good. The stories. I never played the first one. I tried to play the first one after the second one, and it's rough. So that's just gonna stay unplayed by me. But yes, that's fine. It can stay in the unplayed pile. Red Dead Redemption 2, while it still kind of has that rough around the edges Rockstar control, is such I almost use the word immersive, and I really don't want to because I don't necessarily feel that about this game. It portrays the realism of the world in a very accurate manner, sometimes too accurate. I'm really tired that I have to walk around camp all goddamn time, which is why it almost breaks the immersion for me by being too real sometimes. But the story of that game, the characters, the voice acting, the world, and the world building around it are just really top notch. I still need to go back and finish that dishonorable playthrough. just to see some of those differences. But yeah, that game's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was on my close call, but I couldn't put it on because I have not beaten it yet, and I just don't know if I'm going to.
Or Resident Jeffem.
From what I've heard, from what I've told people, I'm considerably farther than he is, so I'm not like I don't know. Like I have like 4 chapters left, maybe. I think this. I don't remember. I don't even remember how far it goes.
Yeah,
But,
for me,
I mean, I do like it.
Yeah, for me, that story is superb. I never enjoy playing Rockstar games though. I don't like the gameplay at all. So, like it's just that story and that writing and those performances alone brings that game really high. Like it was on my top 10 list for that year, just off of that. But I absolutely despise the gameplay.
I don't quite hate it that much, but it's definitely rough.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite games I've ever played, but it's not on my list. And the reason for that, and this sounds super weird, is because like when I think about the story and what it does and how it makes you play as a new character, because like the big thing going into it was like, oh, you're playing as this new character, everybody loves John Marston, you're not playing as John Marston this time. And what they do with that story to make you fall in love with that character that you play as is fucking incredible. The story is so good. It's one of the most well-written stories of any game made, period. That's my opinion. But that game is long as fuck for no reason. It's way too long. And it went way too long, dragged on for way too long. And like when I think about it in retrospect, I don't think I enjoyed that because of it. You know, it's like when I think about the game and I think about the story, it's like that story is so good, one of the best stories. And then I'm like, oh yeah, but then you have to play it. It's like the time it takes to play it, the way you have to play it, not great. So it's one of those things. It's like, God, if they could just pull it off and like condense down this gameplay and like the mechanics and refine it, it could be one of the best games ever. But because of those things, it's got faults, you know.
All right.
Okay.
Number 3, Tyler.
Yep.
Number 3 for me is Fortnite. Yep.
We have no viewers anymore, so we can keep talking. But
yeah, you know, Ninja and I are pretty tight. We were streaming together. But, I've had a good time with that game since it went free to play and launched the Battle Royale back in like 2017. I think, like August of 2017. It's one that I consistently play all the time. I mean, I always go back to it. It's like Overwatch. It's like between Overwatch and Fortnite, those are 2 games I never uninstall because I will consistently, if I don't know what to play, it's like, oh, fuck, I'll play a match of Overwatch. And as my kids have gotten older, I've been able to play with them. So like I play with my oldest son a lot. Sure. And then my younger son, he was playing with us on iPad before, you know, Apple and, you know, Epic got that big ass kerfluffle.
Yeah,
that kind of sucked. But it was super fun because like there was one night where like my son and I were playing on our Switches together, and then we got my youngest son involved with us on his iPad, and it was just the 3 of us in a squad together. And I just like look over and I see my 2 kids with me playing Fortnite, and like we get a battle royale or whatever, fucking victory royale. I can't think. Sorry, we get a victory royale, just like me and these 2 little kids, and it's just like this is one of the best moments of my life right here. And because of these moments, it's like the moments that game has given me. I thought about putting it higher up on my list, to be honest with you, because I've had so many moments like that where it's just like either with my kids or if I'm by myself and it's like a really clutch situation and I don't know if I'm going to get the win, but then I end up coming up with the win. And it's just like, it's a feeling that you get from a game that you don't get from a lot of other games, you know? Yeah. It's like this anxiety, this, it's like a puzzle in a way, like an active puzzle that's constantly changing in front of you. And it's just a really unique experience. And I love how it changes up every season and they add new stuff. They take stuff away. It's just fun. You know, great game.
So yeah, I've actually had this since it was in, like, it was announced, and I bought the Founders Pack or whatever when it was just the, Fight Back the Storm or whatever that is, Save the World.
Save the world.
And I really enjoyed that. And then when Battle Royale came out, I was like, no, fuck this game. So I actually haven't played any of the Battle Royale. I think I told you guys that I played like once, and I won the first time, and then I put it down. And then earlier this year, because of you and Ryan, pretty much, and Becca, I started playing again, and I actually played a lot. And my kids actually play a lot now, and constantly ask me to play with them. But I get that if it's something you can share with your kids, it definitely makes it a better game. You know, just interacting with them on something that they enjoy, it's fun. But I mean, I enjoy it occasionally. I mean, I wouldn't put it on my list, but I do enjoy playing it. It is a fun game.
Yeah, I also wouldn't put it on my list, even though I enjoy playing it. But that's not so much a strike against Fortnite as I'm just not that big on battle royales. Yeah. I think it's silly to try and say discount Fortnite. It obviously has had a huge cultural impact, wider than just video game culture impact. I would say to a large degree, that game has affected a lot of the world now, especially the under 15 world. Yeah, I mean, it's not like top 10 material for me, but that is a game that I played at launch and I was like, not for me. And then I had friends, mostly Becca, get me into it, and play somewhat regularly. So,
but yeah, it's a good game to just pick up and play a couple matches, and then you don't have to feel anything about it. It's just a good time, especially if you got people to play with. That's the main thing. Like, I didn't have people to play with. If you don't have anybody to play with, it's like, it sucks balls.
Yeah, like so many games, friends make the experience.
Yeah.
And I've had so many moments, like either playing with friends or playing with my family, or occasionally playing by myself, where it's created so many different emotions in me that a lot of games just this generation just haven't given me. Because like last generation, I was big into Modern Warfare and Black Ops. That was like my thing. It's all I did was play Call of Duty all the time. And it's giving me that same kind of feeling that I had when I was like a 16-year-old playing Modern Warfare,
Yeah, I feel it.
I don't have anything to say about Fortnite. I just haven't played very much of it, honestly.
Well, that's okay. We won't hold it against you.
You should.
I will.
All right. Tyler will hold it against you. My number 3 is the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh.
And that is largely in part of just nostalgia. And going into this, having beaten 7 so many times so long ago, it was just like, this is fucking awesome. But then you realize that what took you, an hour and a half, 2 hours in the original game, now was 40 hours. It's like, they're never going to fucking finish this thing.
Nope.
But it is so good. It is so good.
I remember Midgar being a little bit longer than that in the original
like
Final Fantasy
6
VII.
to 8 your first time through. Maybe you got it down to 2, Tom, because you're just speedrunner, but...
We used to we probably rented the Final Fantasy VII from Blockbuster, my brother and I, enough times to buy 2 copies of the game. We probably had like 8 manuals in our house from just forgetting to take them back with the game. Like, this was just a game that we played like nonstop, and so just the fact that it came out finally, like something finally came of it, and it was as amazing as it was. I mean, yeah, I could be very misjudged on how long it took me, but I remember I could whip through that and get into that golden saucer in no time. So,
yeah, I love Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's definitely making my top 10, I think. I'm almost certain. I haven't really put that together yet, but it didn't make my top 10 here just because I have problems with like the pacing in some places, and there's obviously the fact that it is not a complete narrative. We never expected it to be a complete narrative, but that's not like just because they said it wasn't going to be a complete narrative that it's like suddenly okay, well that's fine, that's great. I don't think it closes well on itself, is what I'm saying. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. One of my favorite games I played this year for sure, because again, combat is different. You know, you can change your characters mid-fight and just completely change up the way you play, and you're forced into that situation a handful of times. And I think that's one of the things that's really great is it makes everybody feel unique and fun to play as. Because of this game, it actually made me go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII. You know, I had never played it originally, and because I loved this game so much and what they were doing, I went back and played the whole original, and now I'm super stoked for whatever they bring out.
Yeah, just the depth they added to the characters. Because you go into it thinking that, you know, Aerith is just a healer, but she's so much more when you're playing it in the remake. Like,
yeah,
they expanded on these characters like very well. Like, it was just a really good time. I enjoyed it.
I haven't played it yet.
Boo this man.
I boo myself, honestly.
Yeah. I should also say I didn't have excuse me. I didn't have much nostalgia for Final Fantasy VII either. The first time I played it was when Game Informer did their game club in 2015, 2016, something like that. And I mean, it holds up surprisingly well, outside of, obviously, graphics look like dog shit. But, yeah, so I have, like, a light nostalgia just from those 5 years ago, but not as intense as millions of people who fell head over heels for this game.
Yep, and one of the things that also makes that game great is the music in it is fucking amazing. So good.
Yes.
One of the best soundtracks of the year, easily.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I guess, you know, this came out in 97. So I was 16 when this came out. So I played the living piss out of this. You guys were like, what, 5? 4? So yeah, I imagine nostalgia is not really high on that list for you guys. But for me, it was very high. Like, what the stuff that comes after that is going to be coming, like, if they do it like they did this first part, like, it's going to be ridiculous.
See, and that's what I'm hoping they do with this same thing with other games, because, like, your nostalgia for 7 is the way I feel about Final Fantasy 9. Like, Final Fantasy 9 is my Final Fantasy. That's the game the Final Fantasy I played the most. I played the first 2 discs of it. I don't know how many times. I've only beat it once all the way through. But if they were to give other Final Fantasy games this same treatment, it makes me so excited for whatever Square is going to do in the future.
See, 9 was my least favorite.
Oh my! Just hang up the phone.
8 is way better than 7, and 9 I'm like,
8 is horseshit. That sucks.
No.
Damn,
Muting
getting
you.
into it.
Removing you from the call currently.
Oh,
okay,
that is so difficult and frustrating.
No.
Yes.
Carrying on, number 3, Chris.
My number 3 was Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh. Yeah.
All right.
2.
My number 2 was Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh.
My number 2 is Ghost of Tsushima.
My number 2 is also Ghost of Tsushima.
I forget what you said about Final Fantasy 9.
My number 2 was Bloodborne.
Number
Picking
1.
up pace.
Baby.
My number 1 of this generation was Bloodborne.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, my number 1 is Ni no Kuni 2. I love the first Ni no Kuni. It's one of my favorite games of all time. The second one is a lot different. They completely change up the combat. The story is crazy. Like, it starts off with a nuclear explosion where the president of the United States gets transported to another world. You know, it's a weird game, and it's super cute, and the characters are super fun and amazing, and the world is like just like this amazing place that I just want to go to. You know, I want to escape into this thing that they've created. It's so beautiful and different and unique. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over, but it's so, I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I don't know if you ever watch something and it just like puts you in like this trance kind of a feeling, right? Where it's just like, this is like pure bliss to me. And I just want to live in that world. And the music is incredible. The story, it kind of long in the tooth, but it's fun. and I put like 190 hours into it just because I tried to get the platinum trophy. I don't know. I don't know how else to really describe it. I just fucking love this game so much.
Yeah, I mean, I just started it because if you've watching me stream, I play it with Rhea, and she loves it, and it's a good time. I really enjoy it so far. We are not far at all.
Yeah,
that I'm aware of.
A long game. The main game I think took me 50 hours, and then with DLC and other stuff, I put I'm at 180 now, so whatever that math is, you know.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get farther in it, but she really likes it, and I enjoy it. It's a good time. Like, it's the perfect game to play with your kids too, just because it's very animated.
It's like the animation is great, but it's like simple, right? The combat's super simple, but it can be intuitive if you want it to be. There's a lot of mechanics that are involved where you can change it up on the fly. And I mean, that's been one of my big things this whole time. I've been talking about, fighting mechanics and gameplay mechanics and how I want them to vary. And that happens throughout this entire game. You're constantly getting new abilities. You're constantly getting new characters, getting new weapons. You get these like little miniature guys to help you out on the battlefield, and you're getting new ones of those. And they have different perks. And then you can eat food, and those give you different perks. And it's just all these different things you're combining together to like do different missions. And then they have like this whole like overworld theme where you're like little chibi guys running around the open world, and then on top of that there's like these crazy army things that you do where you have like 3 different groups, and it's like Fire Emblem style where it's like this group is good against this group, which is good against this group, and you like gotta make these groups fight each other in like a makeshift army. And the gameplay just changes up a lot, and it's incredible. I love that.
Yeah, I've only had 2 of those encounters, but I was not expecting that in that game.
Skirmishes? It's been a minute since I played. I think they're skirmishes, but
yeah. Literally, I've done that twice, but I was not expecting that in that game. Like that when that happened, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome.
Yeah,
like, and you have to make that little army.
Yeah, and you rotate them around as you need to get them to do a certain thing. And it's
attack certain guys. And
exactly.
Bust down the barricade. Yeah,
and then and on top of that, it's a fucking town builder. You're building up a town on top of that, and like just making your kingdom, and like watching your kingdom expand, and watching like all these different people that you bring into your town and what they bring, and how they all have their own special traits, and they need to go to a certain place to make that building flourish more than another building. And it's so good. Everything like folds in on itself in this perfect blend of everything I love about video games. It's great. I love it. 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
number 1 of the generation.
Yeah, number 1 of my generation, baby. Love it.
I also played the crap out of that game. I like it a lot. I think honestly my opinion of it was hampered by trying to get the platinum trophy, because there's some stuff trying to get that platinum trophy that is just straight up like broken, like trying to get skirmishes to pop up in specific places because you need to do them all, but they randomly generate. It's bizarre. And honestly, I wish I hadn't done that because I would probably hold it in higher esteem. But the story is really good and interesting. I kind of wish that Roland was the main character instead of Evan, because I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But not a lot to say that you haven't heard set. Good game.
It's a good game.
It's a great game. Love it.
All right. So my number 1, which probably no one would think would be number, is No Man's Sky. And I've had this since launch, and it got shit on hard early on. Dude, this game is fun. Like, especially with all of the stuff they have dropped now. Like, I had fun in the early when everybody didn't like it. Basically, like flying around you could just lose yourself for hours. If you didn't like the planet, just hop up and go to a different one. There's just so much to do, especially now. Now they added so many other things that you can do, and it's just like, I used to watch like the old Flash Gordon, like black and white stuff with my dad, and like just the crazy like weird sci-fi, and I'm like, this is totally gonna fulfill that like little childhood stuff that I used to do, and playing pretend. Like now I can fly around in the ship. I can do whatever the hell I want because nothing was really, inhibiting you. Like, you go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You just get lost. You're not even going to see anybody else, and everybody's like, "Oh, I wanted to play with my buddy." I'm like, I don't care. I don't have anybody to play with anyway. Now you can because they added that, but they're like, "Oh, you probably never will see anybody." When this game initially came out, and I was fine with that. But just to find your own planet, name your own planet, you can name everything you find, whatever the hell you want. Like this just I don't know. I just had a lot of fun, and then it's just constantly getting new equipment, new ships, new stuff for your ships. Like I don't know. I had a lot of fun in this game, and I enjoy it. And I can't wait to play it on PS5.
It's on
I
my
really
shelf.
want to check out that next gen upgrade. That makes it look so interesting. So
Yeah, it's on
And
my
I
shelf. I
haven't
need to
done
check it
much
out,
in
but I
VR.
haven't.
yeah, and it's on Game Pass too, and it like makes me feel like a dick that I haven't played it yet. I look at it all the time, and I'm like, I want to download this and try it out. I just haven't done it yet.
And they've added so much to the beginning. It's kind of like if you played Sea of Thieves when it came out, it basically just put you into it. And now they've added actually an intro story and stuff to Sea of Thieves that is kind of more like a tutorial, where before it was just like you're thrown into it. They did the same thing with No Man's Sky. Like there's actually like it shows you around more, and they changed like a bunch of the mechanics on how you do things. So it's a little more accessible for people, but it's a ton of fun if you want to just fly around, shoot crap, build bases, do space battles. Like you can do bounty missions now in space. You can, I think there's land vehicles. There might even be mechs. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, and they have like organic ships now too, right? Like,
Yep.
living ships. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive back into it. But that game, like, I dumped a lot of hours in when it came out, just floating around space, doing whatever the hell I wanted. It was a lot of fun. So
Cool.
that's my number one.
It's a good game.
My number one is Celeste, which is not only my favorite game of this generation, but my favorite game of all time, like by miles. It is like the platforming is very precise and superb and incredibly challenging. One of the most challenging games I've ever played, especially like the B side and C side levels. Basically, the A side is the main level, but then the B side and C side are just these challenge levels that don't add anything story wise, but are incredibly challenging and so rewarding to win. Like it's similar to Meat Boy and like just practicing over and over until you can execute this long series of incredibly challenging things strung together. And especially the C sides are literally like 3 screens, but each screen takes, it could be like 4 hours, you know. They're long and hard. But like it's not even the gameplay that, like the challenge of the gameplay anyways, that is really important about this game. It explores mental illnesses in a fascinating way, like in some cases literally like personifying mental illnesses, like that little voice in the back of your head that tells you you can't do things, and like the way the gameplay correlates with that as you're climbing this mountain, and then like something bad happens and she'll fall down the mountain, and like you're fighting with this voice in your head that has been personified to get back on the trail up the mountain. It's like seriously, I was like full on sobbing at points in this game because it, like as somebody who's never seen a therapist or anything, it taught me things about my own mental illnesses and depression that I've struggled with before in the past. And it's just, I don't think any game could ever hit me in the same way as Celeste did when it came out.
I have played. I played half of it. I just got it this year. Yeah, it's one of those games. It's really hard to pinpoint how to describe it because there's so much going on within the story that is kind of. It's not necessarily beating you over the head with it. I mean, it's almost subtext in a way. Like you could almost ignore the whole shadow version, and if you don't understand what is really going on there, just like, oh, it's just a cute little platformer. But the fact that like they have this really integral message hidden behind it, and it makes it even more incredible now that like the narrative lead of the game came out and said that, like this story, like unbeknownst to her at the time, was a way for her to talk about transgendered issues, you know, and that like the main character is most likely transgendered, and that they're trying to like figure out how to like figure that part of themselves out, and just the messaging behind it is something that you don't see in AAA games. So the fact that like this little indie game can come out and be like telling this story that is incredibly important, I mean, you can't dismiss anything that it does. It definitely deserves more praise. I mean, it already gets enough praise, but it deserves more.
Yeah. This is definitely it's a game that when it was coming out, I played it maybe a month after it came out. It was getting a lot of praise, like both from fans and then from critics, giving it like I think IGN gave it a 10. I give it a 10. It's amazing. But I was like, wow, this is totally overblown. It's just an indie little platformer, but you have to play it and see.
And the music rocks.
Yeah.
It's been on my list for a while. I just downloaded it on Game Pass, so sometime soon I will be playing Celeste finally.
We should just do an exploration of Celeste. Sorry.
We'll talk about that later, Tyler.
Anyways, you guys should just don't even fucking play the game. Just listen to the soundtrack because the soundtrack is so good. It's so good.
It's good.
One of the best soundtracks.
Well, I'll listen to it while I play it if it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Yep.
It just came out on Game Pass.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect.
should we run up some of our communities lists before we do honorable mentions in case they have some of our honorable
Yes.
mentions?
So I think we'll just run through them separately. They're
Yeah.
10 to 1s.
Mhm.
So Ryan, you want to start with whoever you had?
My buddy Middle Gray writes in with his top 10. He has number 10 as Tetris Effect. Just top-notch game. That might be on my honorable mentions. Number 9, Outer Wilds.
Okay, which is that that's the RPG, right? Not Outer
Outer
No,
Worlds is
Outer
the
Worlds. I didn't want to do it, and I did it. I was trying to avoid that.
We're real games media now. Number 8, Stardew Valley. Number
game.
7,
Great.
yeah. I haven't played enough Stardew Valley, but I've played about, 20 hours of a save. It's fun times.
Well, if you want to be darker, you could play Dungeon Keeper. Wait, no, what is it? It's not Dungeon Keeper. It's Graveyard Keeper, which is basically Stardew Valley, but it's like dead people.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me. Was it you were telling me about? Probably you.
Yeah,
didn't
it
tell
was on Game Pass a while ago, and then I ended up actually buying the game after it was off Game Pass. It's like, Gravekeeper or something like that.
His number 7 is Bloodborne, because it's
Too
just a
low.
good game, everybody.
Too low.
It's okay. Okay, game.
Just kidding.
Unless you're Tyler, then it's not.
Number 6, Persona 5.
Ooh.
Number
Yeah,
Did he
nobody
beat
can
it?
finish that game.
Did
so...
he beat it, though?
Did he beat the game?
Yeah.
I'm going to mess if he's
beats
streaming. He's streaming right now. I think he knows that. Actually, you know what? I think it's on his beaten list on his stream game.
okay.
So
It's not.
he's. I'll go verify right now. Number 5 is Undertale.
Great
Number
game.
4 is.
we should
I've watched
briefly.
that game be played, but I haven't played it myself.
Yeah. God, I barely remember the game at this point. I remember it blowing me away at the time, but it's been a while.
I couldn't play it because it played like Duty,
Really.
but I liked it. What it was. I don't want to play an old RPG like that.
Yeah. Number 4, Nier Automata.
I
Nier
need to get
Automata.
back to that game so bad.
That
played a little
game and Nier and Ni no Kuni are the two that like I really want to play, that are two of the games I really want to play that we've talked about tonight that I haven't yet.
Those damn end games.
You know it. 3 is Disco Elysium.
I bought it, haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
It
Is
seems
that
like a
game-
big time sink.
Has that come to consoles?
Nope.
No, I have it on Steam.
Wow, Middle Gray, fucking cheater. Can you believe this guy? Just played.
I think I told him one PC game.
We'll let
He's
it
not an
slide. It's like Microsoft-ish.
Sure.
We'll allow it.
Number 2, Red Dead 2. And number 1, Witcher 3. I know he's
Ooh.
huge.
Yeah, we got a gamer-ass gamer over here. That guy loves some long games.
Yeah, he's a
Every
big
game
gamer.
on there was long as shit.
Yeah.
All right, then good list. Tyler, who do you had? Numby?
Yeah, we got our homie Nubby did our opening music track. His number 1 or number 10, sorry, Rocket League.
Fun game.
Great
Yeah,
game.
I could not get into Rocket League, but it's probably because I didn't have anybody to play with.
Oh, it's fun, but I suck at it. So
We'll have to stream it one Sunday because it's so fun. Especially doing the hockey mode. The hockey mode is the most fun you'll ever have.
Hockey mode's great.
Number 9, Abzu. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for number 8. Number 7, Sunset Overdrive.
Ooh, I just started playing that again. The game is a lot of fun, and I think people dismissed it very early on.
I tried to play it, but it was very weird to go back to an Insomniac game after playing Spider-Man. You know,
But again, it's all about traversal.
yeah, it is, but it's so weird. It's so weird. Like it starts saying "fuck" every other sentence, like at the very beginning, and I was like, "This is weird." It's so weird. It's fun though. I mean, the combat and stuff is fun. What was that? 7?
Yep.
6, Skater XL. Have you guys played that?
Yep.
Yep, pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
This one controversial. Number 5, Steep.
I've not
I
played that.
wanted to play that.
Yeah, I've played it. I had some fun doing some hang gliding shit in that game. Number 4, Forza 7. Number 3, Forza Horizon 4.
See, I like the Horizons better
Yeah.
because I don't like the go around the track a crap ton of times. I like I'm going to go drive out into somebody's freaking farm field and
Yeah,
destroy it.
I'm
jump
not
off
even a
cliff.
big racing game guy, but I liked Forza Horizon 4 a lot. I played probably
Yeah.
15, 20 hours of that. So it's a great game.
yeah. I think 4 is one of those games. It's like anybody can get into it.
Yeah.
That is a game for anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do a community game night on it in a certain other community, and it's super fun. And
Yep.
make weird vehicles. We do horrible van races that take like 30 minutes.
Number 2, Bloodborne,
Yeah.
and number 3 or number 1. God,
Number 3, Forza Horizon 4 again. Let's go back now.
No, I said number 3 because it is Dark Souls 3, but his number 1 is Dark Souls 3.
Which
Yeah.
I just beat this year. Yeah,
Dark
and
Souls
that
3 is
end
amazing.
awful. But I did have fun. It was a good game.
Yeah.
Good list, Snubby.
Real quick, Dark Souls 3, it's on my honorable mentions list. I just only wanted to put one From Software game in there, but I think I gave that game like a 9.75. It's amazing.
All right. I got then Tom Was Like. And he starts off with number 10, Thronebreaker. Is that the that's the Witcher?
Witcher
Yeah.
card game
I have not played that.
story.
It's on Game Pass.
Is it? Everything's on Game.
I think so.
Especially now with EA
Not
acquisition.
Game Pass for PC, but it's
Yeah.
for regular Game Pass.
Not for the realized gamer boys, not the fake ones that only
Yeah.
have some stuff.
That's right, baby.
Number 9, Yakuza 0, which I
Yeah.
think we briefly touched on earlier. Number 8, I have not played it. Oxenfree.
Shit, I've always wanted to play that game.
Yeah, I've heard
I
a lot
see
of
it all the time. I just don't ever play it. I don't know why. I want to play
Well, I
it. but-
feel if it's on somebody's top 10 list, it's worth taking a check.
Yeah,
They had
it's a good game.
their other game that just came out, After Party, that was on Game Pass for a while, and they took it off before I could play it. So
Oh, I think I
Yeah.
downloaded it with the intent to play, and then I never played it, and then I went bye.
I never got the chance to play After Party, but yeah, Oxenfree is amazing.
Okay.
Should play it.
Number 7, Persona 5. Long game.
Nobody's-
All these people putting games on here they didn't finish. What the hell?
Number 6, Wolfenstein 2.
that game is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I had it. I got it for PC. But yeah, it's super fun game.
I don't care about spoiling anything, but the moment when you're in a wheelchair in that game, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I cannot believe they put that in a video game.
Fantastic, I think is what you mean.
Yeah, just going on a wheelchair with a bunch of shotguns.
Yeah, I think I
a
was
good
just I think I was just in the wrong mindset when I played that because it was maybe a little too goofy for me. I lost the
I
thread.
played that on the
somewhere.
hardest difficulty, and the end of that game is so incredibly difficult on like whatever it's like hardcore mode or something. It is so hard. It sucked. I hated it. I almost like quit playing it and didn't beat it because it was so difficult. I couldn't get past.
Oh man. Like a full on just awfulness. All right,
Yeah,
number
I've never-
5. We got Spider-Man.
Mm,
So that made a lot of lists. Spider-Man, I didn't have it because I didn't beat it.
Wait, that was my number 5.
What?
I
number
think that
4.
was my number 5.
It was your number 6.
Oh, okay, good because I erased my list already. So
They no longer need to know. Next generation, it starts tomorrow.
It's out
It's been recorded.
I told you, I don't live in the past, Tom. I'm living right now.
Number 4 is another popular game, Bloodborne.
Sweet.
God, everybody loves that fucking game. Am I wrong? Am I the one in the wrong here?
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
We all have different tastes. It doesn't matter.
I put a fucking One Piece game on my list.
But you love, like, it makes sense for you to put One Piece on. It's, you know,
A One Piece bathing suit?
I mean, if you want to do that, we can take a pause real quick.
No, I'm good.
Number 3, The Witcher 3. That's fun. It's on 3. The Witcher 3. Number 2, he has God of War 2018. I have not played this either.
Yeah, that was going to be on my honorable mentions. That game is really good.
Yeah.
The story kind of ebbs and flows, but it ends on a really high note, and it has some really good moments. And what they do with that series is incredible. I mean, one of the best games on PlayStation for sure.
I'm looking forward to play it on the Plus collection. That's
I'm
really
gonna
what I've been waiting.
replay it when it comes out on the Plus collection because that game is really good. And I want to see what it looks like on PS5.
In number 1, for then Tom was like, The Last of Us Part 2, which I have not played, so I don't know.
Also have not played.
Don't like that game.
I thought it was okay. Not as good as the first.
Yep.
All right. Mixed emotions on The Last of Us Part 2.
I mean,
we're not saying that is a bad game for you.
The gameplay is fun, but the story just wasn't as good as 2. It had some really good moments, but that was another game. Went a little too long. It could have ended way sooner than it did.
You couldn't vary your fighting attacks and such the way that you liked?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's pretty much the same the whole game.
All right.
There's some
So,
upgrades. But
that
real
was when
quick,
Tom was like,
sorry, real quick. I'm surprised God of War didn't make any of our lists. I know you said you haven't played Tom. Ryan, did you play God of War?
It's on my long list. This is really my first God of War. I played a couple on the PSP, and it's a really good game. But I didn't do any of the extra side content they put in with that game. I literally just did the mainline story A to B. It took me about 20 hours, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. And that's my feeling on God of War.
Yeah, I think the acting and the performances in that game are amazing. Honestly, the big thing that drags it down is that it's so obviously the first entry in a series that's going to be so much more grand and awesome. Like the boss fights in that game are pretty cool, but they're few and far between, and like in terms of fighting gods, there's not a lot of it compared to especially like God of War 3 where you kill the entire Greek fucking pantheon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more in the series. I think they'll continue to get even better.
speaking of, God of War 3 was the first game I platinumed.
Ayo.
I enjoyed that game a lot. But yeah. Haven't played it, looking forward to play it. The new God of War. And then the newer God of War. I also have Flaming Queso. List. Who does our outro music? Woo! His
Lovely.
number 10, which has not been on anybody's list, Subnautica, which I have not played, but I've wanted to. That's the underwater
base
one.
builder underwater.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think
It looked like a cool game.
I think it only recently came to Game Pass. I know I've installed and I think it's from Game Pass.
Yep.
But I haven't played it yet.
Number 9, we got another Wolfenstein 2, the new
Oh.
Colossus.
It's a good game.
So, yeah, it's a fun game. A little short for me, so it didn't really like hit hard. Of course, I remember playing Wolfenstein back on PC when it was freaking like Doom. Like
Okay, old
Doom.
man.
Yep, I'm old. Number 8, also a new one on the list, Gears 5.
Oh,
I have not played Gears 5. I actually
Nor
haven't
have
played a Gears since Gears 3, not counting Gears Tactics.
Same time. Yeah.
I've played all of them. I like Gears 5 a lot. Not quite top 10 material. Probably should have been on my honorable mentions though. I think it was in my top 10 last year or the year
But
before.
you didn't have to
whatever year
say
it came
that. You still could have put it on your honorable mention.
Yeah,
We
you could have
didn't
changed.
You know what? It's on my fucking honorable mentions, guys. It's so good.
Ayo.
Number 7. This is a good game that I was just playing with the missus, Cuphead.
Oh yeah.
That game is hard.
It is hard. Yes, we did not make it far. We at least beat some levels though. So
That game makes me want to punch holes in buildings. That is very difficult. I don't like it.
So you gain superpowers when you play this game.
No, it just makes me want to punch stuff, man.
Yeah, that game is definitely very
Punching
challenging.
things
But
is a superpower. That game makes me have superpowers, I guess. I don't know.
You can call me Superman. All right.
Yeah, Super Punch Man.
Wait, I got something for you. Oh, can you read it? It's too
No,
bright.
it's very white.
Oh, hold on.
Your light.
Turn off
what are
the
you
light.
doing?
It's
You're
too
ruining
much.
it.
Not funny. Come on. There it is.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Number 6, another Rocket League.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Fun game. Number 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 4, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yes, I'm glad that's on
nobody had
someone's
that.
list.
I haven't played it, so.
Yeah, and I really want to play it.
It's a great game. It was my game of the year last year.
Number 3, also a new entry, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Ah, man, I have that game and I have not played it yet.
That's also on my short list. I think that took everything that Tomb Raider did and made it way better, expanded on it, and added like progression systems. And it is very sad that Shadow of the Tomb Raider completely shit itself in every way. That game's so bad.
Now, answer me this: how much does it change up combat throughout?
Zero.
A little bit. There's some.
A little bit or a lot of it? I don't even know. That's good if I don't know if I ever play.
I think traversal changes quite a bit. It feels kind of Metroidy almost. You get like different things that let you traverse, but
You roll up into a little ball. You can drop some mines. You get a grappling hook.
it's really graphic to the spine breaking that she does.
Yeah.
Number 2, which is on my short list, Titanfall 2.
Ah,
Also
yeah.
on my short list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also on mine.
Yep, mine
Great game.
Good game.
And number 1 for Flaming Queso. I'm a little iffy on it, but Halo Master Chief Collection.
Cheater. No, I'm kidding.
It's not generation.
Queso.
We'll allow it. We'll
I
allow
mean,
it. Just
isn't-
because you do fantastic work for us, we'll allow it.
We don't like it. We'll allow it. We don't like it.
It's no One Piece.
You bet your ass.
Are any of us here Halo heads?
I just recently went back through and played every single Halo game, and it was great. Had a great time.
Smidge.
Sweet.
I've
Love
read
it.
some of the Halo books.
Oh.
I played all of the Bungie ones, and then after it wasn't Bungie, I didn't like, what was it, 4? Didn't care for it. And I stopped playing that, and I never picked up anything else.
I have a hot take, a flamin' queso take, if you will, that Halo 5 is one of the best Halo games they've ever made. And everybody hates it, and I don't know
my
why, because I think it's
God,
fucking
you're,
awesome.
You're gonna need to go
I didn't
hide in a
play
bunker,
it,
man.
like I said.
People are gonna be knocking
Yeah.
down your door any second.
That's fine. I
It's
like One
dangerous
Piece
shit.
and I like Halo 5. Y'all can suck one. I don't care.
So you like Halo 5. What do you think of the new Halo? Because I think it looks like trash.
Oh, no, it looks like garbage, but I'll still probably play it. And, I mean, I'm sure, even though it looks like garbage, I bet it plays super great, and I bet it's really fun. So,
Yeah, I'm interested mostly because I have Game Pass and I can play for free. But
Yeah, that's
also,
true. but wasn't it
uh,
like alpha footage that they showed anyway? So,
yeah,
They
the
can make
graphics
up
was
whatever
super
lies
bad.
they want now that they realized it was trash. But
well,
I'm interested in the open area structure that it seems to have for sure.
I just know that those games are really fun, and that universe is super unique and rich with lore, and it's just really there's so much that they could do with that series, I think, and make it interesting and fix the problems that 5 had, and especially with the story and where it left off. So
they could have Bungie do 6.
no, because they're making your game Destiny 2.
But Bungie's were better.
So our last community list from Head Over Heels Gaming.
What do you mean no?
So her number 10 is Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
I platinumed all those games. That game's great.
Yeah, I also platinumed all those. It is a great remaster of all those.
If you ever just want to have just a great afternoon, just platinum Spyro. Just the first one.
I've never played a single Spyro game.
It takes
I'm
like
with
10
Tom.
hours maybe to platinum. Just do it. It's so fun. Such a great time.
Yeah, if you like 3D platformers.
Respectfully decline.
I think Tom and I are going to be fighting by the end of this.
I think you guys have already been fighting. Number 9 is Neo 2. I've got that on my shelf. Need to play it, but haven't. Liked the first one a lot, though.
Yeah.
I played the demo. Demo was fun.
Yeah, I've only played the demo for Neo, and I enjoyed it. And then it was like, I'm gonna die a lot. I don't know if I want to pick this up at full price.
Yeah. Number 8 is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Good game.
Good game.
Number 7, Dragon Age Inquisition.
I'm playing that right now. That game's awesome.
I want to go back and play again.
That game is fucking awesome. I really wish I would have played it sooner than right now because it's awesome.
God, I got like 60 or 70 hours into that game before I was just like, I don't know that Dragon Age is really my combat style, because Inquisition was the one I liked the most, and even still after like 60 hours, I was like, I just can't do this anymore.
Fair. I haven't played it because I haven't played Dragon Age 2 because everybody shit on that one, at least at launch. So, and you know,
it's just because it was so different from the first one, I think.
Yeah.
I like 2.
2 was very more action linear. Like, it wasn't go wherever the fuck you want.
Well, that's the thing with Inquisition. I feel like that's not really one. Just from what I played so far, I have like maybe 3 or 4 hours in, and it's not really like go wherever you want. It's like you go to like these little specific areas, and it's like you can kind of explore, but you're really gated to just certain paths, you know.
Yeah. So 2 is pretty much straightforward. Like, you just go on that path.
Oh, that seems great for me. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but people, definitely did not like it just because it was such far departed from what Dragon Age was.
Yeah, after the first one.
Number 6 is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Number
Woo!
5.
Good game.
Good game. Number
They
5,
must have
Marvel
heard
Spider-Man.
I started playing all these. That's why they put them on the list.
So yeah, number 5, Marvel Spider-Man, also great game.
Mhm.
Number 4, God of War.
Who's
Another
this
God of
person? They got a good taste in games. They got a good taste in games.
Head over
My
Heels
friend
game.
Head Over Heels Gaming.
Good taste in games.
Number 3, another number 3, The Witcher 3.
I take back what I said.
Oh, Bloodborne's got to be on here too to really just pour that salt in the wound.
Let's see. Give me the next one. Let's hear it.
Number 2, I love this pick. Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age.
All right. Oh, yeah, that's a good game.
The re-release of Final Fantasy 12 that took a lot of elements from like the original Japanese release, the like class system and stuff. The best way to play that game, absolutely, and it was already my favorite Final Fantasy previously, so I love that game.
Is that the one with Vaughn or Van, whatever?
Yeah,
his name
Vaughn
is?
sucks, but Balthier is the real star of that game, and he should be the main character. And then number 1, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Good game.
It's a good game.
Only one of those games does not belong on that list.
All right.
Did,
And then-
All right.
did Adam ever get his in?
No, I didn't see anything.
Okay.
So
Yeah, say
let's
nothing.
all yell at him quick on here because he can't say anything. Adam Walker, Texas Ranger. It's
You're a
fake
coward!
boy. Can't even make a list.
I'm gonna beat your ass in Bloodborne.
What? You can't count to 10? What's wrong with you?
No, he's a mechanic. He's always losing the 10 mil.
Yeah,
Oh, there we
he
go.
That many fingers left.
Wow.
Lost him.
So should we do some honorable mentions, starting with Ryan?
I think
Yeah, I'd love
I only have one left, but yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I forgot to mention when Middle Gray said his, but Tetris Effect is on my honorable mentions list. Beat Saber is on my honorable mentions list. That is that is the game that kept me coming back to VR over and over and over. It's so much fun, and it is a great way to exercise and play some video games. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Another phenomenal VR game. I don't know if you guys know what that game is. Tom, no, Tyler.
No.
I don't have it in VR, but I have it like the normal version on my PC.
Okay,
VR.
So you know what it is. So the person in the VR headset is in a room with a bomb, and everyone else in the room has the instructions on how to defuse the bomb, and they have to walk you through defusing a bomb. And it's all these little puzzles on the bomb. It's great. So it's a really good time.
Huh.
Titanfall 2 we mentioned with Flaming Queso. The Division, kind of the Destiny counterpart. I've always been more partial to the Gears of War style cover-to-cover third-person shooting. I think there's not quite enough of those, and Division scratches that itch. I still go back to that occasionally.
The Division 2?
And
You go back to Division 2 or the Division 1?
Division 2 specifically,
Okay,
I guess I'd
okay.
come back to now. But they did bring some of Division 1 back into Division 2, so I still go back and get to explore New York, which is cool.
Cool.
And then my last honorable mention is Helldivers.
I played that
Freaking
game.
love that. It's so much fun.
That game is hard.
Yep.
That game is very hard.
I
Yeah.
had a thing fall on my head several times because my co-op partner hated me, and then I was done.
Yeah, that game is significantly more difficult if you don't have a good group of people to play it with.
Tyler?
Oh, me. Oh God, I wasn't prepared for this. For Honor is one of mine. I don't know however much you guys played of that, but I
It's-
love the combat system in that.
Yeah, it's one I have. I've had installed for just ages and ages, and I always want to go into it. It always seems like they're adding new stuff, but I am afraid of potentially falling down that
Do
rabbit
you
hole.
have it on? Do you have it on PS4?
I do.
I have it on PS4. Do you have it
Interesting.
installed?
I'm gonna
Right now?
uninstall it right now. No, I'm just kidding.
I would play it, but I have it on Xbox. So.
Yeah, that game's super fun. The combat is fun. They add new characters. Somehow that game is still going. Like they're still adding stuff to it. It's just a great time. You know, it's fun to just like. I love like going into time periods. You know, it's like one of my favorite things is like going into different time periods and being able to play as these different warriors from different classes like throughout history is great. Another one is I lost it because I wasn't prepared for this segment.
Wow, that's a long game title.
Yep. Iconfell. I'm currently playing that right now, but it's one of my favorite games I played in a very long time. The story is super fun. It very reminiscent of Celeste's story in a way, Chris. So I think you should play it and finish it. And I'm not completely done. I got like 2 chapters left, I think, but it's a pretty short game. Paper Mario-esque fighting on like a grid, very Mega Man Battle Network style meets Paper Mario meets like old school Final Fantasy RPG with Harry Potter. You know, it's fucking cool.
It sounds amazing. I will probably fall in love with it once I play it, but I can't stream it, which is where I play a lot of my RPGs is on stream.
SteamWorld Dig 2, another great game, another little indie game, super fun to play. I think SteamWorld Heist. No, that was last gen. I lied. That's it for me. I can't think of any more. I'm tired. Sorry.
Yeah, I got my one is actually 2 of what was not listed. The Surge 1 and 2 are both really good games. I really enjoy those.
Cool.
Division 2
started
I
one.
actually play a lot with my dad as well. It's one of those like when we're not playing Destiny 2, we were playing Division 2, just back and forth because the DLC kind of like offset each other. So when Destiny 2 gets stale, you hop over to Division 2, and then that starts getting stale, you go back to Destiny. Like that was my pattern for a while. But yeah, otherwise the only one that I have that wasn't listed already was the Surge 1 and 2.
You know what made this really hard for me? I just realized is like some of the games I wanted to name were on Switch, and so I was like, "Fuck, I can't say that. It's on Switch. Fuck, I can't say it on Switch." It's like so many of these games I want to say them, I can't say them because they're not on PlayStation or something. Sucks.
Yeah. I just started the Surge and it's a lot of fun. I have no idea when I'm gonna get to finishing it. I'm only like, I don't know, 6 hours in maybe, but it's a good time. So my honorable mentions are Final Fantasy 15. Like you said, that game makes a cup of ramen look delicious, and that's all you need to know about it. No, I like the open world. I like everything except for there's like a secret boss fight against a giant turtle that literally takes like 5 hours.
That's awful.
It's the worst design decision ever. It's so fucking boring, but I wanted the platinum in that game, so I did it. I have Overcooked/Overcooked 2. Amazing party games, such a blast. One of the few games I can play with anybody. You know, it's so simple to grasp, but if the people are not good at the game, you get to yell at them a lot, which is silly and fun. I like yelling at people.
I don't play that with my wife anymore because it would just start arguments.
Yeah, it starts arguments, but it has a lot of memorable stories too. We still talk about the entire finished turkey dinner that my mom threw away. It was a disaster. Dragon Quest Builders 2. I don't know if Builders 1 was this gen or last gen, but I know Builders 2 was this gen.
They were both this gen.
Yeah, they were both.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, PS4.
Just very similar to Minecraft, but with a more of a story. And I love Dragon Quest, so the Dragon Quest aesthetic really did it for me.
I wanted to play those, but I never pulled the trigger on those.
Yeah, I played the demo, and the demo was fun as hell. But
Yeah.
I never pulled the trigger.
They're super long. The second one especially, I think it's like 60, 70 hours. It's a long game.
No, thank you, sir.
Can you vary your attack style?
No, you cannot.
You can build different stuff. You can vary your build style. How about that?
Ooh, now we're talking. Hold on, rewind this, maybe.
You do also build up like a home base in that game. It's cool.
I do like how it's like it gives you a tutorial, or not a tutorial, but like a set of like you need to build this thing, and like kind of opens up what you need to build, so you're not like constantly thinking about, oh shit, what should I do next? What do I need to do? Like Minecraft is too open. Like having that structure of like we need this for this area, and then that'll unlock something so you can go to the next area is really good.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into Minecraft just because I'm not creative enough to well, I guess I'll build stuff. I don't know. Which I think they've added more of a story to Minecraft since, its early days, but I've never gone back. And then my last honorable mention is Yooka-Laylee, one of the few like indie 3D platformers to come out. I like that game a lot. I'm glad to meet somebody else who likes that game. A lot of people shit on that game. I thought it was great.
Banjo-Kazooie game I'm never going to get, so I love it. Banjo-Kazooie is one of my favorite series, so Yooka-Laylee was like... I was like, I know I'll never get another Banjo game because Rare's too busy fucking off in Sea of Thieves or whatever else they're doing, not making a Banjo game, so this will have to do.
Come on, Microsoft. Everybody wants Banjo. Nobody will buy it, which is why they haven't made it, but
I'll buy it.
People will.
I will buy that
people
game.
want
I will
it.
buy every copy of that game.
The vocal minority want it. Oh, also, I should mention A Hat in Time is another great 3D platformer that came out this gen. Indie 3D platformer. And that's all I got.
All right. Ta-da!
This was a good generation of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best
lot of
game of
good
this
games.
generation is unequivocally Bloodborne.
Yep.
Common across everybody's list. Everybody loves that game. It's the greatest.
I think the only one that was on all of our lists was Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Now that's a good game.
Yeah, but it wasn't on a single community members list, so what does that tell you?
You know, I
stupid.
almost put that as my number one. I was this close.
It was on my number one for a while, and I'm like, I don't know if I could put it number one.
I have a feeling in like retrospect later on, I'm gonna look back and be like, yeah, it's probably my number one. But
Well, if they throw more content out, it's going to be definitely like
Yeah, I hope they keep
Moved
releasing
up,
content
but,
for Legends.
let's thank the generation.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thanks, Sony, Microsoft,
You
not Nintendo.
all the third-party developers.
Yeah, you
Nintendo,
did.
get the fuck out of this house.
You figure out your consoles, damn it.
You can get in line with everybody else. God damn it.
Oh. All right, so for our next game exploration, I believe we are doing Bug Lickers.
Bug snacks.
Bug Snacks.
Like a bug
So-
and like a snack.
Apparently there's a
Somebody call
song
Marvel.
that people know, but I don't know the song.
Oh, you need to listen to the song. It's the greatest song of our generation. It's not really. It's pretty good though. It's catchy.
I don't know about it.
It's better than a WAP set to the Wii Music, Wii Shop theme.
It's fine. It's a fine song.
It's
So
fun.
we will be
Bloodborne, it's okay.
all right.
Okay.
It's okay. So from whenever people get it, I think it's on PS4 now and PS5 tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's on Game
And
Pass.
it's going to be on
Or not
PlayStation
Game
Plus.
Pass, but yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
We will be playing that until the 25th of November.
Are we playing the whole
Believe-
thing? We got to figure out how to split it, right?
I think we're gonna do the whole thing because it's only 8 to 10 hours, from what I understand.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've done no research on this game.
All I know is that there are bugs and they're like
There's bugs and there's snacks.
Try to catch them with your trap.
Oh,
Oh, bug
Okay.
snacks. It's something.
is this the song that we're doing now? Okay. Apparently, when we do the next podcast, somebody will be singing the song.
I'll sing that damn song.
Not me. I won't be singing the song.
I will
They
not sing
have
it as
the-
well.
I could learn it on my ukulele and play it.
All right. I'll get my guitar.
I'm not gonna do that, but I
It's over
could.
there somewhere.
We're all gonna sing the song. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, the 25th you can play to, and we'll get a new channel up on our Discord for it. We will, so you can put your comments, concerns there. You can email us again on said email that will be in description if you don't know it already. Should be a good time.
Keep sending in your top 10 list. We want to make fun of them.
Yeah, we'll just do it on the Discord and on our streams instead of on the podcast. So Adam, get off your ass, write us a list so we can make fun of you.
And also, we should mention we're going to be doing our top 10 games of the year, an exploration of the year, if you will. So if you want to put together your list for that, we'll be taking those as well later in the year, like towards the end of the year, beginning of next year.
So do it.
Do it.
Yeah, otherwise, this is a lot of fun.
Guys, this podcast is only 2.5 hours long.
This is the shortest one we've done.
I got games to play. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Yeah, there's no Valhalla waiting for me, right?
You heard it here first. Tyler has no time for you. He has games to play.
He doesn't like the community.
He's got new lists to make because he's already forgotten the list that he just made. Because he doesn't live in the past.
I could run it down real quick again. I remember.
But thanks
number
everyone
4.
that sent us their lists for us to make fun of or talk about. Everybody that loves Bloodborne, except for Tyler.
The
But that's
one
okay.
gamer.
We don't hate him for it because we're fighting anyway, I guess. Something about Final Fantasy and some other game I think I made fun of.
You said Final Fantasy 9 was not good, but that's fine. Let's end
I didn't say it wasn't good. I said it was my least favorite.
All right.
You guys can sort this out off air,
Those are
okay?
called opinions.
You can drive to each other's houses and beat the crap out of each other, whatever.
He's so far away, though, Chris.
We're actually the
Just-
closest, so.
Just record it so we can put it on YouTube, please. That's all.
Can't.
We'll spar our youngest against each other. Harrison against Dolly.
All right, that's fine.
Harrison's only 2. He'll be okay, right?
Yeah, Ollie is a machine, so, you better call an ambulance, because...
Jesus.
Oh, that'll
We
be
do
a new
not
podcast.
endorse
I feel like
children fighting.
we're starting a cockfight with our kids. It's like a fight club for babies.
Thunderdome with
Yeah.
little squeaky weapons, Nerf swords and stuff that will drop down. But thanks everybody for listening, participating. We look forward to our next podcast in 2 weeks here. Should be a lot of fun. Plus, all kinds of new games coming out, new consoles.
Yeah,
So
this will probably be the last one shot for at least a little bit. We promise it's not the structure we're doing for every single game ever. Just a coincidence.
But what if it was?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do Cyberpunk in one episode.
we'll just do a 72-hour stream, and that'll be our.
What if it wasn't?
Wait.
Not funny.
I heard you laugh. It was funny.
All right. Thanks everybody for
Thank you,
listening
Tom.
or watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.